that Rashee Rice was getting ready to explode. You couple that with how many of these guys could be 1,000-yard wide receivers if they were the number one. Xavier Worthy feels like he's a candidate for that. Hollywood Brown has had a 1,000-yard season and was on pace for that based on the way this season was kind of starting. And I'm not saying any of the other guys are outside of there, but they got 4 guys pacing, for between 700 and 900 yards on the team, Gold, or 950 yards on the team, and that's before Rashee Rice comes back. I think it's his best wide receiver unit. And I honestly, considering the depth, I don't want to say that it's not close, but I think it's probably like 20% better than any wide receiver unit he's had at any one time. I would put it by at least a fair size margin at this point.
Yeah, the wide receiver room, the deep threat, check. Tyquan Thornton, Xavier Worthy maybe applies to that as well. So 2 of them. What if they had 2 deep threats at the same time, legitimately? Possession wide receiver with the ability to get yards after the catch at a very high level. That would be Rashee Rice. Check that box off as well. Xavier Worthy, an explosive player, not just in the pass game, as I said, but also an extension of the running game and sometimes in the running game. All right, they have that type of player in this room. They got a veteran that is capable of key third down conversions that they trust. That's the Juju Smith-Schuster type. And then if you have to go beyond that, it doesn't really matter at that point in time, right? But you are deeper 1 through 4, 1 through 5 than you've ever been with Patrick Mahomes. And we were looking earlier before the show of all the wide receivers that played with Patrick Mahomes and who played the most games. And some of them are just kind of funny to look back. The wide receiver that's played the most games with Patrick Mahomes was McCole Hardman. He played in 70. If these numbers, these are from Pro Football Reference, I believe they are correct.
I would assume so.
McCole Hardman, 71. Demarcus Robinson played 63 games with Patrick Mahomes. And Tyreek Hill, 58. We're not talking tight ends. That's why I'm not mentioning Travis Kelce. But that gives you an idea. The closest current Chief to, at the top of the list would be Juju Smith-Schuster, who's played 35 games with Patrick Mahomes.
I can't. You're trying to tell me Juju Smith-Schuster has played some of the most games with Patrick Mahomes?
Rice has only played 20 games because of everything. Same amount as Kadarius Toney.
It just when you start going down this road, this is part of the reason I feel this way. Look, in all retrospect, the time he still had with Tyreek Hill was relatively short compared to the time he's been in the NFL. It's just deeper and multifaceted and covers a lot of areas. They can go underneath and deep, and they have possession guys and non-possession guys. It's just across the board, by far his most talented wide receiver unit. That's why I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see it the plan put together. Because I will admit, this was largely their plan last year. Minus Tyquan Thornton. This was a huge part of what they were planning on doing last year. They had Hollywood under contract, Juju under contract, Rashee Rice under contract. They had drafted Xavier Worthy. This is not some different unit other than Tyquan Thornton, who they did sign last year, but obviously stashed with the intent of getting him up and running by this time this year. And so it's largely been their plan, and we've never got to see it executed. For 18 months, we've known this is the Chiefs' plan at wide receiver, and never once got to see them actually attempt to do it. So, Sunday's important for me to see if what we think is true is true. Yeah. That this is the best wide receiver unit he's had.
Someone says over prime, Kelce, Hill, and Sam. Again, we're not including tight end, so that's why. Kelce's not part of the conversation of the wide receiver room. I understand he gives you wide receiver production, but we're saying from a wide receiver room, it's the best one Mahomes has had. Yeah, if we expand it beyond tight ends, well then... I
still think it might be this time.
Well, if you expand it beyond tight ends, then the Kelce, any combination of Kelce and Hill would be better.
Would it?
Yeah.
Would it? Because
because Kelce was in his prime at the time, Tyreek Hill was in his prime at the time. So if we expand it beyond just wide receivers, then I think you would have to get... Because they had Sammy Watkins, they had prime Kelce, prime Hill, and Watkins at the same time. That'd
be the only one that I think has an argument.
Yes.
I don't think that there's some other team that that includes Travis Kelce at any point during his peak, because those teams, as you pointed out, yes, prime Tyreek Hill, prime Travis Kelce. So they had 1,479 yards and 1,336.
But this is a
wide receiver. But the third wide receiver had 519 yards.
Yeah.
So I think even if you included tight end, then it'd be Chris Conley at 330 and D-Rob at 288.
Okay.
So I still think even if you included Kelce, because of the depth of this unit, again, how many of these guys, on that roster, there were 3 guys who had at some point in their career, at any point in their career, had more than 800 yards. Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Sammy Watkins. That's it. Chris Conley, D-Rob, all those guys have never surpassed those numbers. On this year's team, how many guys have surpassed that at some point in their career? Travis Kelce, Hollywood Brown, Rashee Rice, who did it in his rookie year. Xavier Worthy hasn't, so like it's still only 3, but a guy who we think could do it outside of the guys who are in there. I think it's on par with those teams because of its depth. Again, the top heavy part of it's obviously having a different conversation. They've never had this kind of depth. They've never had this kind of unit. And this goes back to, an offensive line, which we'll talk about here in just a minute. We're supposed to have them all together, so I'm excited to see what the wide receivers do together. The biggest downfall is like if they had this wide receiver unit with prime Travis Kelce, well, then they would have been a juggernaut. They would have been an unstoppable monster.
Yeah, and we can keep expanding it out. Now people are bringing in the running back situation. We're not saying that this is going to be the best offense that Mahomes has ever had. We're just specifically talking the wide receiver room. Yeah, if you want to bring up, prime Hill, prime Kelce, prime Kareem Hunt, yeah, that was historically great.
That was the one.
The wide receiver room 1 through 4, 1 through 5 this year is better than any other 1 through 4, 1 through 5 they've had in the Mahomes era. And maybe in franchise history, quite honestly.
Ooh, you want to go franchise? You're going to now we're going to get people talking about like the Carlos Carson.
I wasn't alive to watch that, but
I'm just saying like that's what they're going to bring up.
Yeah.
Anytime we have a wide receiver conversation with the Chiefs, it is a stark reminder that their history of wide receivers is awful. Awful. They have been a franchise. Like the Bears we make fun of for being like a bad franchise with quarterbacks, and you're like, look at all these horrible quarterbacks they've had over the years. The Chiefs list of their top 10 best wide receivers, it ain't great. You're like, Eddie Kenneth, you're like, some of them you're like, you're still a top 10 wide receiver in this franchise's history? Eddie Kinnison? He only had 2,000-yard seasons in his entire NFL career, and they were both here. And you're like, that's one of your best? Ugh. That goes back a long way. You don't want to like start going through the list. And I don't know. I don't know about their history. Probably the only one that probably compares is some deeper one in the like late 70s, early 80s.
How about this crew,
because
Cody?
anytime in the time I've been alive, there's not one that's better.
Henry Marshall, Carlos Carson, and Stephon Page, all of them in their time playing were roughly in the mid 80s, and they all collected at least 6,300 yards.
Yeah, I mean, okay.
Again, I wasn't alive in the 80s, so I don't know.
I mean, that's a nice unit. It might be that one. I don't know who 4 and 5 were. I don't, I can just tell you in the time I've been alive or Alex has been alive, we watch a lot of different wide receiver units for the Chiefs. There hasn't been one better than this. Not in our lifetime. If we limit it to 1984 and on, this is the best unit a Chiefs starting quarterback has had at wide receiver ever. Like it just is. And it's not top heavy. Because then we know we're tossing Tyreek Hill into it, who is one of the 10 best wide receivers of his era.
Hall of Famer.
Yeah. I'm not saying top heavy. I'm saying 1 to 5, top to bottom. You spread them out and you put 4 wide receivers on the field, they are dangerous. Now, I will say that this is a big reliance on what is Rashee Rice. And this is where, like, I saw really good stats put out from multiple people on his separation stats are good, his yards per route, his yards after contact. All the numbers support that Rashee Rice was and was about to be a top 20 wide receiver in the NFL. If he's not that, this conversation just changed a little bit. I'm banking on the idea that Rashee Rice is somewhere in the top 30 to 35
Where he was pacing
range.
last year before he got hurt?
He was pacing to be a top 5 wide receiver last year. I'm just asking him to be somewhere in the 20 to 30 range in the NFL. If he's anywhere near that.
1,000 yards? Does that put you in top 20? If you get to 1,000, are you a top 20 receiver?
Not anymore. Like, we don't think anymore, do we?
No, we went and looked this up a year or so ago, where how many receivers are 1,000-yard receivers these days? It's way more than it used to be, just passing yardages up across the NFL. I don't know what it is so far, like currently who is pacing for a 1,000-yard season, but we looked this up after last football season or 2 football seasons ago, and
it's not.
It doesn't automatically. 1,000-yard season is not what it was like at 15 years ago.
Jameson Williams was 24th and he got to 1,000. DK was 25th and he didn't get to 1,000. So if you get to 20, you're a 1,000-yard receiver.
Now for him, that's not obviously a 1,000-yard wide receiver is not for the rest of the way. We're talking about a guy who, like 1,000 yards over 17 games or whatever is a lot different than what we're talking about for him. He doesn't have to get to 1,000. That's 58 yards a game, 59 yards a game. That's what we're talking about the rest of the way for him. How many games we got left? 11? The 3 and 3?
I think he can do it.
616 yards the rest of the way would be a 1,000-yard season for Rashee Rice. He was on pace for 1,600.
We just don't know. We just don't know what the how they're going to operate with having all these weapons and what that does for individual production. It's the whole EGE thing, right? That the team has been talking about all week and everything like that. All right, let's get back into the story kind of the day yesterday and something that is ongoing, and that is Josh Simmons. We're not going to get into the specifics again of how the press conference went yesterday and what we don't know and all that. We're talking strictly from a football end, which is, while we're excited they get a full wide receiver room healthy and back for the first time, you think, oh, they've got their left tackle figured out, they got the offensive line rolling, they got the wide receiver room rolling, and yet now they're going to enter a game on Sunday, and it sure seems like, barring a major shift in some news, they're not going to have their starting left tackle. And yes, Jalen Moore played very, very well, and thank goodness they signed him in the offseason. There's a lot of you that were upset that they were spending all this money on Jalen Moore. He was the original left tackle plan before they drafted Josh Simmons. So they have that luxury. But yet again, it is a bummer that we still are not going to see the actual full-blown starting offense. Now, most teams in the NFL at this point of the season have injuries and things like that, and so it's pretty rare that you're going to go through a whole season and not have guys that are unavailable. This is not unique to Kansas City.
It just feels like we're coming up one spot short, in the sense that what you said, we had spent a huge chunk of the time talking about, finally, the whole complement of the offense is back, and now they're down their starting left tackle for an indeterminate amount of time. And so if you're going to be, and again, I cannot tell you, and I don't think the Chiefs can tell you, you want to know the truth, how long Simmons is going to be out for. And so the fear I have over it is really twofold. One is, it is easy to look good in a 4-game stretch, a 5-game stretch, like Jalen Moore did last year. It's easy to look good in a 1-game stretch when you're the guy who is not starting and has been a backup a huge chunk of your career. Can Jalen Moore be a starting left tackle for 11 games if that's called upon? Can he hold up over that time? Can he block at the rate he has done in short spurts in his NFL career? So that's already fear one. The other is, well, now the depth is gone. One Jawan Taylor twisted ankle, one Jalen Moore injury away from, we're back to what we were looking at last year at left tackle, and the entire balance of the offensive line is immediately thrown off. So now we got to be on pins and needles anytime some player looks like they maybe got a little uncomfortable or rolled up on or any of those things, where before Jalen Moore is providing the depth where none of us were fearing if there was a little issue. Like, for instance, when Simmons was a late add to the injury report because of an illness, which I think is related to what's going on now, and I think Nate Taylor had mentioned he thinks it's related too. When he was a late ad, we're like, well, they got Jalen Moore for today, so we don't have to panic. Now, Gold, if there's any kind of issue like that, we're not necessarily there. It adds kind of a complication to the issue, and we don't get to see the offense at its full complement. With their what looked like emerging star at left tackle in Josh Simmons, now it's going to be like, okay, let's see how Jalen Moore.
I think Jalen Moore can be very good. The ceiling is lower of a guy that was playing at a guy that was trending towards like an all-pro type of level, or at least a Pro Bowl type of level in Josh Simmons. Jalen Moore, I think, can be very, very serviceable at left tackle. And with the way that, we're going to talk about Kingsley in a little bit, the way that Kingsley is now coming along at left guard, that probably can make it work, right? You can probably make that work versus maybe in week one when Kingsley was still trying to figure out playing guard. Maybe it would be more problematic than what it is right this second, where I think Kingsley every single week has started to look better and better and more comfortable left guard. You mentioned Nate Taylor. He was on with Fesco and Dusty today and was talking about the situation at hand at left tackle.
I guess I'll share this. Josh Simmons was listed as questionable with an illness before they played Jacksonville. I think that has to relate to his absence this past Sunday and ongoing. These things are related. And so I don't know how the Chiefs necessarily handled it hours before he played the Jacksonville Jaguars. And again, Josh Simmons performed amazing, considering that what he's dealing with now, could be in relation to what happened in terms of the team saying, like, okay, well, he's questionable because he's dealing with an illness, which, again, if you are, educated, that might infer you as to what might be going on. Again, I don't have all the details, but I was explained, or I was sort of told yesterday, that his blip on the injury report hours before kickoff in the stadium in Jacksonville is related to what he's dealing with now.
I mean, it's obviously going to continue to be a story to follow, and I we talked about this yesterday, and I'm still not trying to know what it is he's personally dealing with, but we got to talk about it as it relates to the offensive line now, because it does relate, and they are related now, that there's a chance they're going to be without their starting left tackle for a long period of time, or even a longer period of time than any of us want to admit at this point. And so there's a chance that Jalen Moore is the starter the rest of the year or a huge chunk of the year. And it adds an extra pressure to the offense that I wanted to see at full capacity. And at least for the interim goal, we're not going to see at full capacity because you and I both know that at the rate Simmons was playing, which was an incredibly high level,
Playing great.
they are not likely to get that level of play out of Jalen Moore. Not saying he can't be, like you said, a good player, a solid left tackle, a league average left tackle even. The kind of things we were asking for out of Simmons going into the year. He had just exceeded that level in the early portion of the season. And so it's got to be, we got to see what he continues to do after that now that we're in there. And Jalen Moore's going to be one of those players. Remember in the first couple of games, Golden, we're like, let's watch Kingsley. Let's watch Simmons. Let's see what they got. And we're paying attention for these next few weeks. I'm going to be watching what Moore does. I'm going to see how the offensive line holds up. I'm going to see how it affects the offense in general.
Look, the Raiders overall may not be a good football team, but Max Crosby's
he's a good player.
Is going to be a really good test again. Now they move him around. It's not just going to be Max Crosby on Jalen Moore. Max Crosby, I'm sure they'll move him around and he'll be matched up with Jawan Taylor. And look, the Chiefs have faced Max Crosby, I don't know, probably at this point it feels like 8 times. I don't know if it's actually that, but it feels like they faced him that many times at least in his career. And so I think they'll have something planned to try to handle that. Hopefully they don't have to leave anybody to help. It's been nice the last couple of weeks. We haven't had discussions of, for the most part, of them having to give extra help to a side. Now they got caught at one point against the Lions where for whatever reason Noah Gray was matched up against trying to block Aiden Hutchinson. That stuff can happen occasionally as well. But for the most part, they haven't really had to help out Jawan Taylor. They didn't have to help out Josh Simmons. Hopefully they don't have to dedicate any personnel to help out Jalen Moore.
Yeah, that he can be on an island when the moment calls for it because they want to be in pass sets. They want to spread teams out wide. They want to confuse them and force them to cover the variety of talent we just talked about on the offensive line. I will say the one bright spot on this, all of this as it relates to the offensive line is, at least at the moment, it seems like they're pretty good at left guard. Kingsley Suamataia has allowed all of 1 pressure in the last 3 games combined. And so his turnaround is going to be studied for a while. And why I so much view the second year is this big swing year. Second and third year, I use these big swing years for players where I start making bigger judgments. I don't make huge judgments based on their rookie year. I start following the progression in year 2 and year 3. We talk about this with quarterback, all kinds of different positions. Kingsley, a player who looked like he was dead to rights, had lost his job, and had no reason to be on an offensive line last year, is playing really, really, really good, quietly, left guard. And if they found something there, okay, we're back. We're back. This is a big year for Kingsley, and at the moment, he seems to have settled in nicely.
You mentioned the last 3 games. Yeah, and the exact stat, 1 pressure at 130 pass blocking snaps. One of them. And this is where you find out Kingsley is playing a lot better. Also having Josh Simmons to his left, did that help things out? Now he has Jalen Moore. What does that do to the left side of the offensive line? But Kingsley has been a huge plus here in 2025, learning a brand new position. Yeah, the initial plan failed of him being the long-term answer at left tackle. They quickly pivoted to guard, and it looks like he's found a home at left guard, and hopefully will be the left guard of this team for a couple of years moving forward.
Again, it doesn't mean he has to get a long-term contract at the end of it. But if for the next 3 years you found a starting left guard for you, then I don't, is it a home run second-round pick? No. Is it a bust of a second-round pick? No. And not knowing where they are with some of the others, even the Simmons stuff, you need some reliable players who are cheap on the offensive line. Creed Humphrey is the highest paid at his position. Jawan Taylor is the highest paid right tackle. They have the highest paid right guard, and they spent a first-round pick at left tackle. You kind of needed Kingsley to work in a weird way, Gold, because otherwise you were right back to having to spend what I consider a premium pick somewhere in the first 3 rounds on guard next year. And if you just bought yourself 2 more years after this of not having to worry about left guard, cool. Now you buy yourselves time. Now you can take the Trey Smith. You can take flyer picks in the 5th, 6th, and see if you can slow develop his eventual replacement. And even if you need to do that, you can always talk extension or all that stuff down the road. Mm-hmm. I've been really impressed. And we talk about this all the time. I think we are fair to criticize players when it is done, when they are rightfully to be criticized, like we talked about Jawan Taylor. We crushed Kingsley for how bad of a job he did last year. He is doing a really good job. He deserves some praise for fixing parts of his game or, I don't know, being in a more natural position for him, if that's what it is. Maybe guard was just a better fit from the beginning. Guards, and we talked about this too, guards
Are failed tackles
all the time.
Yeah.
But we didn't talk about Kingsley this way in the offseason. And you and I spent some time being like, hey, this can work. Just because he was a bad tackle doesn't mean he can't be a good guard. There were like 3 players in the first round this year they were talking about who played tackle in college who might end up as a guard.
Yeah, try to salvage the pick a little bit here that you spent on Kingsley a year ago, but he's been a nice bright spot on the offensive line. All right, up next, they're still complaining and whining in Detroit. The latest on that next.
This is Cody and Gold on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
I'm McCall with Lee Summit Subaru, and it's time to make a big deal out of nothing. Announcing Lee Summit Subaru's 0% event. Up to 0% financing on select 2025 Subaru models for 72 months. And we have the largest selection of Subaru certified vehicles in Kansas City, starting as low as 1.9% for 72 months.
0% event and a lifetime warranty. Fall in love with driving again at Lee Summit Subaru.
Based on January 2025 through June 2025 Kansas City inventory listings.
Hello, Kansas City. Christopher Youngers here with Cafe Trio. The seasons, they are changing. And if you haven't seen Cafe Trio during the holidays, from Halloween, the Plaza Lights, and Christmas with all of our decorations, well, then you've missed out on one of the most seasonally spectacular dining experiences in town. Offering live music, very spirited holiday decorations, and farm-to-table fresh menus, Cafe Trio is the place to be for the holidays. 45th and Main, cafetriokc.com.
Hi there, I'm Charlie.
And I'm Carter. Our dad is Rex with Rex Buys KC.
If you're thinking about selling a home in Kansas City and don't know where to start, our dad can help.
Sometimes life throws curveballs, like moving for a new job, dealing with a divorce, or inheriting a house you weren't expecting.
Dad doesn't just make offers, he talks with people to help them understand all of their options. No pressure, and it doesn't cost anything to talk with his team.
He's a local home buyer who really knows Kansas City. If selling to him is the right choice, he'll give you a fair cash offer, and you can close on your timeline even in as little as 7 days.
He buys homes in any condition. No need for repairs, no fees, no surprises.
Just an honest, easy process so you feel good about your decision.
Want to talk to him? Call 816-330-6000 or go to rexbuyskc.com.
Rex Buys KC, helping people make smart choices one home at a time.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. Also that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Nationwide is so much more than a great insurance company. They're one of America's largest financial services companies. Like how I'm more than just Peyton Manning. I'm also motivating Manning. When I say insurance, you say financial services. Insurance.
Financial services.
Insurance.
Financial services.
Now when I say nationwide, you say is both. Nationwide.
Is both.
Nationwide.
Is both.
For your insurance and financial needs, Nationwide is on your side.
Nationwide Investment Services Corporation, member FINRA, Columbus, Ohio.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility, he knows keeping the line up and running is a top priority. That's why he chooses Grainger. Because when a drive belt gets damaged, Grainger makes it easy to find the exact specs for the replacement product he needs. And next day delivery helps ensure he'll have everything in place and running like clockwork. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Your favorite neighborhood spots run unsquare. You know the ones. Maybe it's the popular shop that just opened a new location by you, or the big sports bar that's always packed on game day. These places make the neighborhood, and the money spent there stays in your community. Square powers more than 4 million neighborhood businesses worldwide. To learn more, go to square.com, or just stop by your favorite local business. See you in the neighborhood. Square.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments including pills, chews, and more. 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, hims.com/joy.
J. Rieger & Co. Straight Bourbon Whiskey, winner of Best Craft Bourbon at the 2025 Ascot Awards. At 90 proof, it's rich, well-balanced, and oh so good. Quality crafted in Kansas City.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Just getting started here on Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. 30 minutes from now, Danon Hughes, former Chiefs wide receiver, will join us. We will talk about a wide receiver that's been back for a couple weeks that has put up some big-time numbers, at least per target, or at least per touch in this offense. We'll get there in a bit. I'm sure you noticed, and this was on Wednesday, now it's Thursday, so maybe it'll cool off a little bit today, but how much Detroit is still talking about what happened on Sunday Night Football. And what renewed that was Lions head coach Dan Campbell at his media availability earlier in the week, I think yesterday morning it was, he said that going back to the illegal shift or whatever formation, Jared Goff, right? He did not set himself before he caught the touchdown pass. We all know it got reversed. There was a delay. Then the officials on the field threw a flag. Lions settled for a field goal. Dan Campbell said he was told the penalty call that wiped out that trick play touchdown came from New York. Well, after the game in the pool report, the referee, Craig Rolstad, said otherwise. So that is sparked like, it's proof.
Conspiracy.
See, it's proof that the league is conspiring to help the Chiefs. And so that has caused this to blow up even more. And we'll get to something during the Chiefs Red Half Hour. You've got, Detroit Sports Talk Radio arguing about Mahomes not getting taunting penalties. Look, the Detroit Lions are going to be just fine, I think, because it's more of a fan thing. I don't think Dan Campbell's complaining as much as he was answering the question. But their fan base, the way you would have thought this was their Super Bowl and their season is over. I'm a little surprised that 4 or 5 days later, they're still arguing about that call and that being the reason why they lost the game, apparently. They lost 30-17.
I got to say, this probably, and this is not meant to be an entire indictment, but part of this issue is, in my opinion, is a fan base that is not used to winning, trying to take it out in one game. I can give you the 4 points if you want them. You still lose. By 6. I can give you a full-ass touchdown if it makes you feel better. Like, it was the first possession of the game in the first quarter. So first off, I actually don't think this should be a rallying cry for a number of reasons. Largely because the game was dominated by Kansas City. And you've chosen one play in the first quarter that was the correct call to hang your hat on. And I saw people tweet it out, which I thought was really interesting because Dungy talked about it going back to the booth after the game when they went to halftime, and he seemed to know the call really well. He's like, if you go under center, it's not there. Somebody found an old clip of Peyton Manning doing the exact same thing and it getting flagged against the New England Patriots, Gold, where it wasn't on the goal line, but they had Peyton Manning roll out and immediately got flagged. And you're like, why did Tony Dungy know that? He had it called against him when he tried to do it with Peyton Manning 20 years ago. It is an illegal play. They practiced it wrong. This is one that's on Dan Campbell. You should be mad at Campbell for not understanding the rule and Goff for not understanding the rule that you don't have to put your hands under center. If you approach center like you are the quarterback, you have signified you are and then have to do it. So, like, why are you so... What deep state conspiracy are they doing on the first drive of the game?
Because people want to believe that it's all rigged for the Chiefs. And so it ended up being the correct call. I think it is a little weird that somebody is either misspeaking or something, right? Like,
it's weird that there are two sides of the story right
I
now.
will admit that,
that is
if
funky.
the referee after the game said it did not come from there, Dan Campbell claims he was told. Somebody's either lying or misspoke.
And I'll be honest, I lean towards the referees lying for the obvious reasons. They're always trying to CYA.
And so because of that, people are saying, well, that is proof, though, that the league is intentionally changing calls for the Chiefs. That's the narrative that's out there. And we can get into the bad look stuff and all that. And if that happened, then in terms of the league, or New York, I should say, calling down and prompting the officials to throw a flag, that can't happen. That's something that shouldn't happen in any football game. We're in agreement there. But this idea that this is now proof that the league is intentionally changing calls on a regular basis for the Chiefs, all that is people are looking for anything. In today's day and age, if somebody has a conspiracy, any sense that maybe there's like an ounce of something weird going on, well, they think they've been proven correct.
And that, I will say, the failure of communication, and this is like sometimes what the league could help itself. The ref is saying one thing, Dan Campbell's saying the other. But Dan Campbell is giving it secondhand. He's saying, the league told me this. And the refs are saying, I didn't do that.
Yeah.
Like, give me a direct league. Did he talk to New York or not?
Right.
Because they do review every scoring play, but they are not supposed to put flags on the field.
Yes.
So it is a mistake. And I'll admit, it is a mistake by the league if they allowed the league office to make that call for Kansas City. And admittedly, I don't think Detroit should be all that upset, seeing how it is a penalty and was a penalty, and you got your ass kicked the rest of the game, which I think also matters.
This wasn't a 2-point win or a 3-point win. And look, it was a huge swing. It was a massive swing.
Sure.
And momentum in everything. It looked the Lions marched right down the field, and it was kind of an FU touchdown pass to Jared Goff as well. And so it was a massive swing in the game. But the way the rest of the game went, acting as if the Chiefs would have lost the game if that was a touchdown, is very, very optimistic thinking on the Lions side of things.
I will say it is very much. I don't think I was prepared for it because the Chiefs had started slow and they were losing some football games and they had one of their most penalized games ever the week before. I didn't.
Yeah, nobody brings that up that they had 13 penalties the week before. That week, what did they tick off the league office that week, and so they screwed them over that week? Is that what happened?
Didn't return a call or something.
Yeah.
Didn't bribe them the right way. Part of me is like, and that's not even to say that I think the league was against them that week. They committed most of those penalties.
Sure.
They were very guilty of it. It was a very sloppy football game by the Chiefs. They deserved to lose that game against the Jags. But so it's like when I view it, I guess what I can't understand, like I wasn't expecting it to be this big of a story again. Like it's all some deep state conspiracy. And then we just go, like, and I think Scott Kaczmar, who's clearly a Chiefs supporter, admittedly, I'll say.
He's always tweeting out different stats and, to usually make Mahomes look good against the Brady argument.
So, for whatever, and look, I don't know if he grew up a Chiefs fan to hell. I don't know. He lives in Pittsburgh currently, according to his social media. So whatever it's worth. But I'll admit, most of his stuff slants Kansas City. But I think he did a great job of putting out what I think is the straw man argument that is currently going on with Chiefs and officiating. If you look at it from EPA per play this year, Patrick Mahomes is 18th in the NFL in receiving beneficial calls from the referees, as in ones that add yardage or continue drives or continue scoring drives. He's 18th. Josh Allen is 1. I'm not saying Josh Allen gets some disproportionately favorable calls, but that's pointed out. And then eventually what his mentions turned into were, well, it's the calls that don't get called. So a disprovable, like unprovable thing.
Yeah, it's moving the goalposts.
And that's the problem. Inevitably is what happens with these opposing fan bases is they turn it into an argument that nobody can prove one way or the other, which is it's the calls you don't see and the one that they don't call is against Mahomes, and it turns into this web. And you're like, okay, well, then you just don't want to have a conversation.
Because you can't look, this is a non-sports thing too. You just can't reason with some people that if they believe a conspiracy, they want to believe it so badly. There's nothing you can tell them that's going to convince them otherwise, and you're wasting your time. That is a non-sports take as well. You're just wasting your time. There's some things that you're never going to convince somebody. They're going to always think that this happened, even if it didn't happen. And even if there's plenty of proof that it didn't happen. They will come up with some new reasoning and logic.
Until it's just like a thing that nobody can prove. And you're like, well, I'm right. Then I'm like, but you can't prove your point.
Yeah, like the sky's red. And you're like, Gold, no, it's not. And here's like, no, it's red. It's definitely red. And we just, and I refuse to ever, even though it's right there in front of me, and nobody is willing to admit that know that there's some conspiracy theories that can be squashed very quickly, but nowadays we allow these theories, sports or non-sports, to exist everywhere.
And I just we don't need to nitpick every single call in the sense that we've talked about this with umpiring too and refereeing. We all have to accept that they're going to get some wrong and do get some wrong. It happens all the time. I mean, constantly. Hell, I'm not even sure if the ball Travis Kelce caught in that game was a catch.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. Yeah. Yep.
But that's in real time.
Dan Campbell did not challenge it. The Chiefs rushed what people leave out in that circuit. Again, context matters. Everybody just talks about the clip and they say, how come the league didn't overturn that? The Chiefs rushed to the line of scrimmage. Dan Campbell did not challenge it in time. That's the whole point of rushing to the line of scrimmage. We're acting like the Chiefs are the first team that ever thought that maybe their player didn't catch it, so they quickly got to the line of scrimmage and they snapped it before anybody could review it. It happens multiple times a week in the NFL.
They have systems in place in order to get the calls right. And I'm sure we all do now, remember a play where Tyreek Hill caught a touchdown. It bounced off his leg, went into his hands, and it was a touchdown. It was called a dropped ball. Andy didn't challenge it. And then when we watched the review, we're like, Andy, what are you doing, my guy? That was a touchdown. Tyreek caught that. It happens. Refs are not going to make perfect calls.
Bad officiating happens every week. Bad officiating is going to
happen all the time. They're going to call holds that aren't holds. They're going to call non-holds that aren't holds. They're going to call – these happen all the time, and we can't. And this show's been pretty consistent on this. I'm not going to say that calls don't impact games, but I'm also not going to say a single call is the reason why teams lose games, right? Like it's a balance. It had an impact on the flow of the game. Sure. The Jared Goff call. It did. But the rest of the game was very one-sided in who played better football. So now we're going to get hung up on the first one play on the first drive of the game. Just move on.
It's just low-hanging fruit for everybody. That's all it is. They were quiet when the team was 0-2. Now the Chiefs are a threat again. And so I'm sure Sunday at noon when the Chiefs play the Raiders, they may, just like every officiating crew seemingly does every game, there will be a missed call. And there'll be a missed call in the Colts-Chargers game, and nobody will say a word about it. There'll be a missed call in the Chiefs-Raiders game, and it'll be the end of the world. And that's where we're at. Poor officiating exists every single week in every single game. But only one team's calls that are poorly officiated get discussed, and it's the Kansas City Chiefs. All right.
Well, except for now the tush push is getting a little bit of juice.
Fair. Let's talk about Xavier Worthy, because since he's returned in week 4, not only has it opened up this offense, but he's got 17 touches. Remember, he sometimes runs the ball as well. 17 touches, 198 scrimmage yards, and a touchdown. He's averaging 11.6 yards per touch. So as much as it's been more about getting him back allows Travis Kelce to work more. It allows the running game to be more successful. When he touches the ball, the reason why it works is because teams are fearful of him, and they have to make sure they have him accounted for. He's been a massive weapon every time he touches the football. To average 11.5, a little over 11.5 yards per touch, that'll get it done every single time. He's been really, really good since he's been back from the dislocated shoulder.
And he's pretty much averaging that across the board, run or pass. It's not like he's averaging 20 yards a catch and 5 yards per run. He's averaging 10.6 yards per run, 11.2 yards per catch on the season. Obviously, it's been better since he came back. He's played in 4 games, but let's admit that it's 3, right? Can we agree? It's 3 games?
Fair.
He played a snap or whatever it was.
Yeah, third play of the game.
3 snaps.
In week 1.
So when we start dividing it up and we're saying, what is he getting per game? We're talking about a player who for a 16-game season is on pace for like 1,100 scrimmage yards. Between rushing and receiving. This goes back to the same thing and the problem they had last year. And the problems they had for the first 2 games, Gold, and why I think they're going to end up being the best offense in football when Rice comes back. Explosive players make explosive plays. NFL teams say these kind of things sometimes for fairly obvious reasons, because it's true. And the fact that he was getting 11 yards per game, you know what that meant, Gold? People had to play deeper on the Chiefs. People had to give them more space. People had to pay attention to him instead of other players. A million reasons why. But the fact that he is an 1,120-yard scrimmage average player for the 3 games he's been fully healthy this year tells you all you need to know about the instant impact he has had in the game. And honestly, he's their most dynamic runner. We had asked, and this is probably the important part, we had asked the entire offseason for them to get some explosiveness in the run game. Hey, man, go get an explosive back. Give yourselves a chance. Maybe those 20-yard runs, those would be cool. Let's give yourself a chance to get those. Obviously, they don't have the back for that. They do have the wide receiver. Seems fairly obvious that they can give him the ball every once in a while and just do it that way, Gold. He's averaging 10 yards a carry on 5 carries. He averaged only 5 yards a carry last year on 20 carries. So, like, he's already more explosive than that. And I think some of that's the offensive line, going back to the initial topic at the beginning of the show.
It is. And I know there's some worry about workload for him. You know, he's got the shoulder thing's going to be a thing all year. He's dealing with an ankle injury. You know, it's one of those things. It's the
taper that down now that Rice is back.
They can, and we'll ask Danon about this in 15 minutes. They can, but also, like, it's the NFL. It's as physical of a sport as there is out there. I don't know if you can play the game all year and say we're just going to try to protect him for the postseason. I think he's going to play with how they need him to play. And does it mean that he has to be out there as many snaps as he was prior to the Rice injury? Maybe not. But like, if they think he's an explosive playmaker that can help the offense, they're not going to suddenly just not call, jet sweeps with him because they're fearful of him getting hurt.
Typically in the NFL, if you're healthy, in Andy Reid's
you're going to play
anyway. If you're healthy enough to play, you're healthy enough to play the normal amount you play. Like, he treats it as you practiced, you're playing. We're not babying you through this. You're either going to stay healthy for this game or not. Maybe it risks injury, but for the most part, they've been a relatively healthy team.
They have, knock on wood, and they got 3 games till the bye week. Bye week's going to come at a really nice time. If they can get through these 3 games, not only with a couple wins, but similar health path, they'll be in the best shape in terms of just roster-wise post-bye week in years. And I'm saying that, and they won 15 games last year. But they really will, because they, of course, had the early bye week the last couple of years and the weird scheduling towards the end of the year, and they dealt with injuries. They're getting healthier, and I understand we don't know what's the whole left tackle situation, but they're getting healthier, and they have the Raiders, Commanders, Bills, then they get a beautiful bye week there, week 10, I think it is.
Right before they go to Denver, an important game on their schedule. So the bye week's coming at a really good time. I think what I like most about the Worthy stats, and the ones you're pointing out, 17 touches, 198 yards. What we just mentioned, he's on pace for 1,100 scrimmage yards. If he just, for those 3 games that he's played, he did that over the course of a 17-game schedule. Obviously, he's not going to play 17 games. He's already missed some time. But that's what he would be pacing for, is that the original comp I gave for this, and we talked about on this show, going back to last year when they only had Xavier Worthy, is we are getting way closer to this being an A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith situation, in that they have 2 dynamic pass-catching weapons to go with everyone
Except
else.
They'll actually get the ball to their wide receiver.
Wait, did you see already that there's a story out of there that he's, like, they're viewing it like that slide they had in Philly before they just, like, fell off the planet, lost early in the playoffs, and now they're already starting to try to blame A.J. Brown. And this goes back to the Sirianni thing. And I know he won the Super Bowl last year. He's going to get a lot. Like, he's got to get some order in his house sometimes. It seems like they're always blaming other people or other players and not the man in charge. And it seems like there's always a lot of, like, infighting in that organization, despite the fact, and this is why I still think they win a lot, is they have, on paper, like they do every year, one of the most talented rosters in the NFL, offense and defense. And so they're just kind of like a funky team. I like following the other stuff in the league sometimes just from an entertainment standpoint. You and I were talking about the lines for the upcoming weekend, and you're already talking about making bets on bad football teams. And we're like, well, let's get ourselves into it.
I think the Jets are getting their first one of the year. Yeah.
So the sicko end I'm going to end up being on for the 3 that we do for Circa Millions is I can already tell myself I'm going to end up choosing somebody on the Dolphins-Browns. And did you see the weather forecast for that game?
Dolphins-Browns. Is it in Cleveland?
It's in Cleveland. Did you see the current weather forecast? Current weather forecast calls for 95% chance of rain and 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts.
The wind is the bigger issue than the rain.
Of course it is.
Yeah, I mean,
they said it could be gust up to 50. They said 40 mile an hour per winds most of the game, 50 to 60 mile per hour
so
gusts.
Quinshon Judkins.
Tua and Dylan Gabriel trying to throw in 60 mile per hour gusts.
Yeah, that's gross. That's gross.
That game's going to be 10.
And hold on. And you want to bet, hold on.
points.
Like, here's the thing. Like, it's one thing for me to bet on the Jets to beat the Panthers. You want to bet on a game that you're acknowledging is going to have weather play a massive role. That seems like a terrible strategy.
Yep. I think that's the kind of game where defense thrives. I'm a big Cleveland Browns guy that game.
So you're taking the Browns plus what? What's the line you said?
I got to pull it back up now. I don't have it right in front of me. You know, no good?
No, look, we'll get the official lines out. Circa puts out their contest lines
It's Miami
at noon today. It's different than the lines that are already available right now, and we'll see. I already know that I'm submitting LA Chargers.
Okay. Oh, I was about to say, which
minus
LA?
1.5 is probably what the line will be. I'm going to submit the Chargers to beat the Colts, and I'm going to submit, and nobody's going to like it, the Jets plus 1.5 against the Carolina Panthers. Those will be 2 of my picks.
Sometimes that's the thing about wagering is that you get yourself in some real sicko.
Nobody's going to want to go with my game. It takes consensus for us to submit, and I know nobody's going to like either of my 2 picks, but
you're putting them in.
I'm putting them in.
The picks you like.
Yep.
You know? I mean, the Colts are going to not win 16 games. So at some point, I think a quality team will beat them. The Chargers are at least a quality team. They obviously have some issues on their roster, but they're a quality team. Obviously, I'm rooting for the Colts in that game. I want the Chiefs to get in lead of the division first before I start worrying about the Colts record. And of all the teams to get the number 1 seed that wouldn't be the Chiefs, the Colts are still probably near the top of the teams that I would prefer to get it.
Other than prior playoff history against the Colts, but you got Patrick Mahomes now. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, that got erased a long time ago. Just their general playoff history, all the other stuff, that got erased a long time ago when Patrick Mahomes came in.
I agree.
So, whatever happened against the Colts before, I just don't care anymore. Meanwhile, on the baseball side, obviously last night's game sucked. It was a blowout.
14-3
Blue
or
Jays
something.
absolutely hammered them. Kyle Riley hit some garbage time home run that didn't matter. And so, that was just kind of a blowout, and it is what it is. But you and I had a conversation last year. Now Jeff Passan is starting to echo some of the sentiments because the story in baseball is still they're anticipating a lockout. I think it's a huge mistake. I think baseball's got to do anything they can to avoid it. But in talking this week in interviews, he had specifically cited this Dodgers-Brewers series as a possible point of emphasis in the conversations that are getting ready to take place. So simply put, are we still rooting for the Dodgers to win so that they ruin baseball and we can eventually get a fix? Because if the Dodgers and the big market teams dominate the league in such a way that makes it so unignorable that the players actually want some balance in this league, we might get it. You kind of should be rooting for the Dodgers, as sick as that is.
So, yeah, I mean, Jeff Passan basically said his article was why Milwaukee and LA is a proxy for the game's greater labor battle that's on the way. You got a smaller market team and, of course, the big bad LA Dodgers. I know people on the surface will say, why would you want to root for the Dodgers? You and I, for 2 years now, have said, if the Dodgers win 5 years in a row, will it prompt change? Now, I don't know if it will, but I think it's the only hope we have of there ever being some sort of balance, whether it is talking salary ceiling, salary floor, both. I think, by the way, the answer is both. I don't think you can have one without the other. You won't get the owners on board with one. You won't get the players on board with the other. So I think that's the only true solution.
This would be their fourth out of the last 8 years, by the way, if the Dodgers win.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's already happening. It's already trending. Now, deep down, do I want the Dodgers to win? No. I just think it's the only chance that maybe you'll finally get some real pushback. But I'm not counting on it. And I think we're all expecting in 2027 there to be, at minimum, a shortened season. I'm not saying they're going to miss baseball all year in 2027. But I think that we are definitely headed towards a end of March when opening day happens these days. Now they're not being baseball in 2027. Again, that's not till another year. Next year's fine. It's the year after.
Some of it is just so obvious. I actually saw our guy Vinny yesterday on First Things First talking a little bit about the Dodgers. Made a Chiefs comparison, by the way.
I like it.
They're essentially just wasting their time in the regular season for the playoffs to start when they can actually take this stuff serious. They don't care what their rotation looks like in March, June, July. They just go through the motions because they're so damn talented, it doesn't matter. Look at their roster. I mean, seriously, look at their roster compared to what the other teams in Major League Baseball get to roll out. Their worst hitters are some of the best in any other lineup across the board. They can afford anything. They have Mookie and Shohei and Freddie Fermin and Max Muncy.
Crazy.
And a million other guys who get on base at whatever. A 400 clip across the board, and it's just insane. And that doesn't even count until you start getting to the pitching.
Because if the Brewers
and see what they can do there, it's nuts.
If the Brewers win the series against the World Series, then people say, "Well, see, it's fine. It's fine.
Come on, the Diamondbacks won a year ago or 2 years or whatever it was.
Or they didn't win.
Or
right?
they
got
lost.
there. They were against Texas, which spent a ton of money. Deep down, I would love us to see a Mariners Milwaukee Brewers series. That would be fun, but.
It hurts baseball in the long run.
I think it does.
Versus the Blue Jays, who spend some of the fifth most amount of money in the league, versus the Dodgers, who spend the most amount of money in the league. Well, then we're right back to the same thing, and then it's pay for play. It is who has a $300 million payroll. Congratulations on winning the World Series. And everyone else is just trying to get to the playoffs and compete. I will point out many times, and I have in other media markets, everyone realizes, right, that the Kansas City Royals are one of the very few small market teams in baseball history, especially since, let's say, the initial lockout, since the 90s, to win a World Series in a small market.
Yeah, what they did in 14 and 15 is
borderline remarkable.
Yeah,
a miracle.
It's extremely challenging to do in the baseball climate. And that's why the Royals are trying to, be a winning organization. And when we say that, I think we on one of our videos that we put out a few weeks ago, I think Drew, part of the caption was something about winning seasons, and a few people responded. So what do you mean what do you mean they're winning? In baseball, yeah, the ultimate goal, of course, is to win a world championship. Duh. But in a small market, and frankly in any market other than maybe LA, if you make the playoffs, if you are above 500, 3 out of 5 years, or even better than that, 4 out of 6 or something, that's incredible. It really is. And I know that seems like
it sucks because it's a weird sport to say where.
And I've told you, like, next year, if the Royals are just an 82-win team, I will be upset. Like, I think they have a roster and an organization set up where, like, they need to get back to the postseason next year.
It's very much Premier League-ish. And hey, we finished 7th in the table and we're a small team. This is a big win for us.
Yeah, when you're super happy when you're Leeds or whoever, right? Where you're like, ooh, we did it.
I think that's the boss's team, Leeds.
These are
right?
Oh, is it? Here are the or Leicester City when that was the
that
big underdog.
That was the craziest thing.
When you look at it, here are the markets for the last 10 years who have won the World Series. Los Angeles, Dallas, Houston, Atlanta, Los Angeles, Washington, Boston, Houston. I mean, come on.
Say Boston again there. It seemed like you worked in
an accent. Boston.
Yeah.
Let's not go through it. The small market teams who have won are the Royals, maybe if you include the Cardinals, who were operating like a big team, maybe because they're a bigger market than Kansas City, but they're not Boston. Miami, they're not a small market. They just operate that way.
Yeah.
Like they won one in 2003 and 95. So if you want to include them, maybe. Other than that, it's just major markets. It's just massive budget-filled markets. So like in a weird way, it's like for the better part of the sport, you almost just need the Dodgers to ruin it.
Let's get back into the Chiefs with Danian Hughes, former Chiefs wide receiver. He, of course, is on the Chiefs radio network. He also has Players Only tonight, 6 o'clock. We'll ask him about Rashee Rice's return, what it means for Xavier Worthy, and his perspective on the Josh Simmons situation next.
What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? It's Trey Smith. You're listening to Cody and Gold weekdays 10 to 2 on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
It's obviously been pretty warm this time of year. Warmer than normal, which means more time outside. Cool weather moving in this weekend, which means you can have that fire pit going. All of these dream outdoor spaces available at All Weather Decks. You get more time out there on that screen porch. They want to build that dream deck for you. So whether it be wood deck, composite deck, outdoor kitchens, outdoor lightings, patios, pergolas, no matter the project, they're ready to help you with a locally owned and operated company who's ready to build that dream deck for you as Kansas City's premier deck builder. I talk about all the awards they've won. That's because people trust the work that they're doing. We want you to be able to unplug, enjoy your favorite drink, enjoy a meal, get that outdoor space, and spend time outside. I know you've been trying to get your kids outside too, right? I do the same thing. We go tell the kids, like, all right, no, we're going to go play outside. Let's throw a ball. Let's do this. Let's eat outside. We'll have dinners out there on our outdoor space. You could be doing that too, thanks to All Weather Deck. So schedule a free estimate today to finally get that dream project of yours. 913-206-1974 or online at allweatherdecks.net.
Hi, I'm Lacey, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. And yes, I'm actually a jeweler. I bring dream engagement rings to life every day in our jeweler's workshop. When I hand set your diamond into your ring, I think about creating a piece you'll wear for a lifetime. I pay attention to the smallest details and treat every ring with the same care and craftsmanship, no matter the size or price. Come check us out at your nearby store. Our engagement rings are made with love from our hands to yours, because a friend knows your love deserves the highest quality. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Around here, we've got each other's backs. When it comes to health insurance, we want that same kind of support. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City gets that. They're from around here too. Backed by the national strength of the Cross and Shield, they help you make confident choices, no matter where you are. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. From here, for wherever you are. That's the benefit of blue.
Hey, Zach, are you smiling at my gorgeous canyon view?
No, Donald. I'm smiling because I've got something I want to tell the whole world.
Well, do it. Shout it out.
T-Mobile's got home internet.
Whoa, I love that echo. T-Mobile's got home internet.
How much is
Look at that, Zach. We got the neighbor's attention.
Just $35 a month. And you love a great deal, Denise.
Plus, they've got a 5-year price guarantee. That's 5 whole trips around the sun.
I'm switching. Me too.
Yes, T-Mobile home internet for the neighborhood.
Donald, you still haven't returned my weed whacker.
Carl, don't you embarrass me like this, please.
What's everyone yelling about?
T-Mobile's got home internet.
And Donald's got my weed whacker.
Yes, T-Mobile's got home internet. Just $35 a month with auto pay and any voice line. And it's guaranteed for 5 years.
Beautiful yodeling, Carl.
Taxes and fees apply. See T-Mobile.com/ISP for details and exclusions.
BetMGM is inviting you to charge the field this pro football season. Existing BetMGM customers can have a ball without having to sweat. Log into your account to get a pro football no sweat token. Apply the token to your next pro football bet. If you lose with the token attached, you'll get your stake back in bonus bets. That's right. With a no sweat token, you get your stake back in bonus bets if you don't win. There's nothing like a fresh set of downs. And that's just what BetMGM is offering if you don't win with a no-sweat token. Find your favorite matchup and be part of the action. Make this pro football season one for the ages. Make it legendary. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Kansas only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Score big savings with Hy-Vee and the Kansas City Chiefs. Big points mean even bigger savings. Just shop Hy-Vee the day after a game and earn a fuel saver discount equal to the Chiefs score and based on the amount you spend. If the Chiefs score 42 points, you save 42 cents a gallon with any $42 purchase. The more we score, the more you save. Win or lose, everyone scores the day after a Chiefs game only at Hy-Vee. Offer good in-store and online. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
I love going to Hy-Vee, but I've got 2 kids in high school and life is busy. That's why I love the convenience of ordering my groceries with Hy-Vee's Aisles Online. It's easy. Just download the app or go to Hy-Vee.com. Then choose your store, select your items, and Hy-Vee will do all the shopping. All you have to do is pick up your order or have it delivered to you. Try it today. New customers get $10 off your first Aisles Online purchase with the code. Save time, save money. What could be better? Only at Hy-Vee.
Upgrade your laundry routine with a durable and reliable Maytag laundry pair at Lowe's. Like the new Maytag washer and dryer with performance-enhanced stain-fighting power. Designed to cut through serious dirt and grime. And what's great is this laundry pair is in stock and ready for delivery when you need it the most. Don't miss out. Shop Maytag in-store or online today at Lowe's.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility, he knows keeping the line up and running is a top priority. That's why he chooses Grainger. Because when a drive belt gets damaged, Grainger makes it easy to find the exact specs for the replacement product he needs. And next day delivery helps ensure he'll have everything in place and running like clockwork. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Your favorite neighborhood spots run unsquare. You know the ones. Maybe it's the popular shop that just opened a new location by you, or the big sports bar that's always packed on game day. These places make the neighborhood, and the money spent there stays in your community. Square powers more than 4 million neighborhood businesses worldwide. To learn more, go to square.com, or just stop by your favorite local business. See you in the neighborhood. Square.
Hey, it's Rashi Rice. The Chiefs Radio Network pregame show starts 3 hours before kickoff, right here on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
11 o'clock hour here on Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. We'll get to the trash of the day in 20 minutes. We'll also, here about 15, get into a couple stats on the defensive side that if you were going to nitpick a little bit that might be worrisome, that stood out to a few people after the Chiefs win against the Lions. So we'll get there in a bit, but it is that time of the week where we welcome in Danon Hughes, former Chiefs wide receiver. He is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. Discover the benefit of blue, and brought to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer. He also has Players Only coming up tonight here on 96.5 The Fan. Danon, good to have you back on the show, man. I want to start, of course, with the wide receivers and Rashee Rice being back with the team, going to play on Sunday. We don't necessarily know the exact, game plan in terms of what's realistic to expect target-wise and everything, but what are you expecting immediately from him?
Well, it's good to be with you guys again as well. Each week has been fun, and especially after wins like last week. But in regards to Rashee, I feel like, we're going to see a lot of him. I feel like Patrick has done a great job. One cool thing about Patrick Mahomes is that he doesn't seem to fit into the box of, hey, I got this new guy, I'm gonna, take it lightly with this new guy, or I got this guy being inserted back into the lineup, we're gonna kind of take baby steps. No, he kind of allows guys to get thrown into the fire, and if he has the confidence in you, we saw it with Tyquan Thornton, we've seen it with guys over the course of his tenure at quarterback, where like you look at the stat sheet and you're like, wow, I didn't know that was a new guy in the lineup. I didn't know that DeAndre Hopkins this was his first week or second week last year. Like, I feel like that's the kind of quarterback he is. So to answer your question, I feel like the entire playbook, the entire part of the arsenal is going to be open for Rashee Rice, and he recognizes, and Patrick, I'm saying, recognizes that Rashee has a lot to prove and a lot that he wants to prove. And I think Patrick is that type of teammate that's going to give him every opportunity to go and showcase who he was basically in line to be as far as a top-notch receiver, one of the top 5 or 10 receivers in the NFL last year before he got hurt. So that's kind of the game within the game. The mindset from a player standpoint is that, hey, I got this guy right next to me. This is his first game. He is my number one target. So we're going to showcase to the world that he doesn't need a few weeks to kind of get ingrained into the offense. He's ready to go, and we're going to come out guns blazing.
He's in a really interesting career spot, Danon, in the sense that he lost an entire year to injury and a third of the season for personal issues. So for a guy that eventually will want to prove that he's worth big-time wide receiver money, he's got a really limited window to do it. And so, I think that's kind of at least for the Chiefs, I always think that's kind of an interesting dynamic for something like that, in the sense that his career arc from that perspective is a lot different than other people.
Yeah, but I think in this day and age, although numbers jump off the page, we have seen, not just in this day and age, but in the course of history in the NFL, where bad teams have wide receivers that put up big numbers, and the reason why is because they're always losing. And, I remember the Detroit Lions teams and Johnny Mortons and those guys. You look at their numbers after the season, and you're like, wow, how in the world did they catch for over 1,000 yards? And then you realize when they come to your team that they're just a regular receiver, not bad, but not as great as what their numbers probably showed. So I feel like with the scouting that goes on in the NFL, if Rashee Rice comes back and shows that he's healthy, shows that he's explosive, I contest that he is now, without Tyreek Hill on the field, he is probably the most explosive receiver soon as he catches the ball. Like, when he was healthy, when he caught the ball, he got north and south real quick. And he was one of the few receivers that didn't dance, didn't try to sidestep. He caught the ball, and he was going towards the goal line, whether it was for 2 yards after catch or 20 yards after catch. And that's his biggest attribute to me, is how strong he is, but how quick he's able to transition with the football. And if he's going to become a free agent, I don't think that he has to put up 1,000-yard-plus seasons with 10-plus touchdowns in order for him to maximize his worth. I think scouting is going to be able to see that he is healthy. He's still explosive. And within this offense that has Travis Kelce, Xavier Worthy, and Hollywood Brown, I think there's going to be some grace delivered from other teams in recognizing that he's still one of the great receivers.
Since Worthy's return in week 4, he's got 198 yards from scrimmage on 17 touches, so a little over 11.5 yards per touch. What do you think Rice's return does for him? I think earlier in the week I caught you talking to Fesco and Dusty a little bit about, the versatility of the room, but also with some of the ankle injury and stuff for Worthy. Do you think they will pull back at all, or will Worthy just continue to be a huge factor?
I think he'll continue to be a huge factor, but, the one thing that about Andy Reid and Matt Nagy is, and I've said it on and on for years, it seems like, they have the innate ability to put players in positions to be successful and to win football games. Like, they just do. It didn't matter when we had the record number drops a few years ago. It didn't matter. Guys were in position to make plays and to be depended on, and then lo and behold, those same guys that had participated in all the drops were the ones that got us the Super Bowl. So I don't know if it's going to be touches per week that we're going to see. 8 targets, 2 additional touches for Xavier. Part of the offense that we've leaned on from Xavier Worthy was actually a package that Rashee Rice was utilized. He was utilized in the jet sweeps. He was utilized in the reverses in the past. So splitting that up, I don't envy Andy Reid and Matt Nagy and how you figure out how you can split things up where everybody is happy and there's no explosions on the field. But I feel like if there has ever been an offensive mind in the NFL that will know how to do it, it's Andy Reid. So, what that will look like, especially for the fantasy owners and out there, and obviously the Chiefs fans, that might be 8 to 10 targets for each of those guys, maybe 6 targets for Travis. Touches, you may see some razzle-dazzle that is associated between both of those guys, Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice, on the same play. Who knows what they were drawing up before the hammer was brought down in regards to the suspension. Who knows what they had been drawing up the entire offseason after losing the Super Bowl, knowing that you had Rashee Rice coming back healthy. That's what's going to be special to me. And what better week than to have that on display against the hated Raiders? That's right. Going to be the fun part of the game within the game that I'm looking forward to.
Well, and I guess, let's take a look at some of the other parts of the roster and the way this works. We've been talking a lot about Simmons and whatever he's going through at the moment that is keeping him away from the facility. Have you ever been a part of a team that had a player away from the team for non-injury related stuff, in the sense that, I guess I was trying to look for somebody who might have insight on how internally a team might handle something like that, Dana, knowing that he's not available, but that, it's not for the reasons guys aren't normally available, in the sense that, when guys are available for not an injury, everybody knows how to handle that.
Yeah, I've never been a part of any program or organization where that has happened, where no one is speaking, no one knows. I'm sure there are some people, obviously, in the organization, as well as players, that know all the nuts and bolts to it, but I've never been a part of something where a person just basically went on hiatus and it's not being discussed, especially a starter at a position that was basically highlighted throughout the entire offseason, and he's played well. So, we just got to lift up your prayers to him and whatever he's dealing with personally, whether it's with his family or he himself. It is a weird dynamic, but you got to give grace. These guys are humans, and I think that's the message that has to be resonating with fans within the Chiefs Kingdom and around the NFL, is that, yeah, they entertain us on Sundays, Mondays, occasional Thursdays, but they're humans, and they go through stuff, and you have baggage. If you ever sit down and really talk to players and you hear about all the things that they're dealing with, I know the general fan, and this is the part that I hate, general fan and even most media will talk about the money. And the money is supposed to be the cure of everything. The money supersedes everything. You sign up, because you sign $1 million contract, a multi-million-dollar contract, everything else is secondary, and we don't want to hear you whining about it. When in reality, more money, more problems, just like Notorious Big said, and there's times where things are elevated and it's outside of the money. So not to go off on a tangent like that, but I think that's a message that a lot of fans and a lot of media need to hear, is that, like, cut it out with the money cures everything and we should be thankful and that's it. Well, there's people that go through health issues, mental issues, family issues that you can't write a check about, and you have to deal with it. And that's not just non-football players or non-athletes.
We're talking to Danian Hughes here on 96.5 The Fan. You started talking about the Raiders a little bit. I felt like the intensity in your voice changed as you mentioned the Raiders coming to town.
Yeah, I hate the Raiders, and it's crazy because, and I said this with Fesco earlier this week. Like, I wouldn't say I liked the Raiders when I grew up. I was on the Raiders. I loved Marcus Allen. I loved, the nastiness and way they played and so on. But when I came to Kansas City, it was like, as soon as I landed in KCI, I was brainwashed. Like, there was something in walking through the airport back then that changed my entire mindset about the Raiders. And then when you couple that with the passion that Marty Schottenheimer used to bring when it was Raider Week, and it was literally on the board, on the dry erase board, on the chalkboard, soon as the game was over, whoever we played the previous week. We didn't even get a chance to rally together and celebrate the win or lament the loss. It was like on the boards, it's effing Raiders Week, get your minds right, and that's how it was. That's how the page was turned back then. So it's kind of been ingrained in me. Then you add some of the antics that we experienced with John Gruden during that era and stomping on the Arrowhead and the celebration of driving around the stadium, multiple laps and all that stuff. Like, all of that just adds to the intensity of this rivalry. So, and they've given us some headaches. Like, they have given us some headaches. They ruined Christmas. Max Crosby has been a problem and probably will continue to be one as well. And we're going to have our hands full because as bad as their season is going, if they're able to come in here and win a game, it's almost like it's going to be the equivalent of 2 or 3 wins for them.
Yeah, I can't stand the Raiders. Cody and I always talk about this. I grew up in Kansas City, and I was like raised that the Raiders are trash and their fans suck and all this kind of stuff. And I can't stand the Raiders. Do you think that you mentioned what Marty used to do though? And I know the Chiefs focus in on the division during training camp. They spend multiple days on each divisional opponent and everything. Do you think though, like internally, just because while the Raiders recently, yes, have given the Chiefs a little bit of fits, but they haven't been, a consistent playoff team and things like that. Do you think the players and the organization as it's currently constructed, though, still has like that same vibe this week, though, as fans do about the Raiders?
Absolutely. Now, it may not be as intense because we're winning Super Bowls and they're not even getting close. We're winning more postseason games in their building than they have. Like, it doesn't even matter in regards to what you see on paper, but I think still deep down inside there's a deep-seated resentment for the Raiders, and like you want to pick somebody while they're down, and what better team would that be than the Raiders to be able to keep them down, keep them in their place, continue to ascend with our expectations and the standard that we have set. And if there's a team, especially in our division, that's going to be reeling, like it's great that it's the Raiders, so we might as well keep them down there.
Take advantage of it, Do you think Andy's going to have, like you'd mentioned early in the wide receiver stuff, I still think this has a chance to be a top 3 offense, maybe the best offense in football. Is that the way you feel about him?
Absolutely. I think if we're healthy and you got a 1-2 punch, I know there's been talk about getting a running back in through the trade before the trade deadline and all that. I don't think that's necessary. I am one of those guys outside of injury. I don't like getting offensive weapons mid-season. We needed it last year with DeAndre Hopkins, and he did a great job. And hats off to him being the great vet that he was, and putting forth the effort and putting us in a position to get to another Super Bowl. But normally, especially with the intricacies and the complexities of this offense, I just don't see that being a benefit with the Chiefs. And so I'm of the school of thought that outside of injury, we're good. Our arsenal is as good or better than everyone else in the league. Brashard Smith is coming along, kind of in that Jerick McKinnon role. And then you have the 1-2 punch that when we're not behind and we're not chasing points, we have shown that we can have a legit run game. And I think people got down on that because you saw Patrick Mahomes being the leading rusher. But he's the leading rusher because we're throwing the ball 40-plus times because we're behind and we have to try to catch up. We're always going to be a pass-first offense, and that's going to be that's just the case.
They also made a huge adjustment in that, Dane, and they started going under center to run. I don't think that I want that to get lost in there, and that they found a more successful way to run with Isaiah Pacheco.
I love it. I love when Patrick Mahomes is under center. I think that opens up a nuance to our offense, not just with the run game, but with play action. There's only but so much you can do with the running back sitting next to you in shotgun. There's only but so much you can affect defensively that will draw the linebackers to the line of scrimmage, that will open up backside runs. For Pacheco to be standing 6 yards, 7 yards back, or Kareem Hunt to be 6-7 yards back, and the snap running downhill lead draws where he can plant his foot, find the first gap, and burst through it, as opposed to going from a standstill stance right next to the quarterback, getting the football 4 yards back, and then trying to figure out how to get downhill. I think that's just it's an aspect of the offense that you want to have. I just don't think that it's a great way to have a run game be a factor. And as long as we're able to get touchdowns on the board, get ahead of teams, force other teams to be one-dimensional, and then be able to utilize the clock tower advantage by running the ball, and you're able to get into that deep kind of hybrid I formation, like every running back would love that. And I think we've flourished in utilizing that formation this past week.
You're about to set the text line on fire. You said 6-7 back-to-back, which was the text line now is going to go nuts. So thank you for that, Dayton. What do you got on players only tonight?
I think I'm going to be solo, but we're going to take on the text line, so hopefully everybody will chime in. We got our faithful callers and texters, so we'll tackle those. It's Raider week, so I'm sure there'll be some hate that'll be thrown that way, and we'll talk all about it. So we're going to have a good time.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Have a good call on Sunday afternoon.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks.
There you go. That's Danian Hughes, former Chiefs wide receiver. He'll be on the call with Mitch Holthus, Josh Klingler this Sunday, a rare noon game at Arrowhead. Pregame 3 hours before right here on 96.5 The Fan. And our conversations with Danian Hughes are brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. Discover the benefit of blue. And brought to you by Flight. Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer. Let's get to it.
Trash of the day.
All right. Go to Italy. There's a man there that is 70 years old. Okay, and he faked something. He faked something for 53 years. Resulted in about $1.1 million. Turns out, though, what he was doing was illegal. Quite simply, he was caught faking blindness for 50 years. 70-year-old in Italy, accused of pretending to be blind for 53 years, collected over $1.1 million in disability payments. He was originally declared blind after a work accident more than 50 years ago and received benefits ever since. Police, though, became suspicious after running checks on his case. I don't know why it took them 50 years to do this, but they did. They decided to investigate him for about 2 months. They caught him on video doing gardening work with dangerous tools, obviously something you wouldn't be able to do, shopping at the market while carefully looking at products, and moving around the city without any help. He was also...
They spied on this man for 2 months to prove he wasn't blind?
Well, they investigated. They have a group, fraud, right? Fraud.
What a weird thing to investigate.
He was also filmed paying with cash by himself. Police have now charged him with fraud and stopped all his benefits. They also ordered him to pay back over $200,000.
That's it? He got $1.1 million.
Taxes. Yeah, this is from the Oddity Central. This is a real case that happened. I'm sure it's not the only one. Just the one
honestly,
we know about. Now, don't say kudos.
No.
Cody, this is where Cody comes in and says, I'm impressed. I'm impressed.
Honestly,
he kept it on for 50 years.
I think this guy's got to feel like he got a massive win is what I was going to say.
Really?
In the sense that he got away with it for 53 years. 50? Was he doing this? I guess here's the question I have. Was he just lying to the government or like everyone in his life too?
Well, probably just the government. He stole money.
No, I'm not saying what he did was wrong. It was definitely wrong. I'm just saying, was he lying to the people in his lives or just claiming to the government he was blind and then taking the cash? Because 53 years of false disability payments is crazy work. He made it to 70 before someone thought, let's actually make sure this guy's blind. We don't fact check any of this. And this is obviously in Italy. I don't know how their government works, but he's collect over €1 million, which is a little bit higher than the dollar, I think. So
in the United States, by the way, it says 64% of individuals that are sentenced to government benefit fraud are men.
Wow, so we're more guilty of it, huh?
Yeah. I'm not going to get into other demographics, but that's just the one I'll mention. I saw
64%, huh?
Yeah.
I've never considered committing disability fraud.
Well, that's a good thing.
Which feels a bit crazy. I just can't believe he got away with it for 53 years. After giving, I guess part of it is you let him have 53 years, and then all of a sudden you just decided, hey, what if this guy's not really blind? Was there something that tipped you off? What was the impetus behind really making sure this guy was blind? Did you do one day on everybody who was on the program and you're like, I got to say, I don't think this guy's blind? And then continued for 2 months?
My guess is
or is it just like you singled the one guy out?
They probably check in, and my guess is he was probably one of the longer, tenured's the wrong word, but on the program for 50 years. They're probably like, okay.
I mean, at that point, though, I would assume he's actually blind.
They probably realize how much money
they
probably realize how much money they paid out to this guy.
Would you like that job? Following someone around for 2 months?
To see if
taking a photo of them like using cash and stuff?
To see if they were committing disability fraud? No, I would not like that job.
I'm just asking.
No. Would you?
I like the idea of like being out on the road and not having to be like stuck in an office. That part would appeal to me.
You don't think there's any office work?
But I think it'd be kind of boring to just follow one person around for 2 months.
Someone says that's an impressive con. I respect it. Someone else said Cody's trying to clear his name on public radio.
53
Someone
years.
said the conspiracy theorist would say Stevie Wonder's been doing the same thing.
Have you seen that conspiracy?
Of course.
He caught a microphone stand and all that stuff.
Of course.
It's been a long-running theory, Drew, that he's not actually blind.
I've seen multiple videos
I think
regarding
genuinely one of the things people do not understand about people who are visually impaired the most is that most people who are visually impaired, they don't just see black.
Some do.
It's not just some do, but a large majority of those who are visually impaired do not have 0% vision. It is a variety of vision or vision-related issues that do this.
That is the trash of the day. Up next.
They followed him for 2 months. He probably was.
Yeah.
I think they got him. But.
Up next, we'll head to Detroit. They're still whining about not necessarily the final call, but that Patrick Mahomes should have been flagged multiple times. We'll get to that and also back into what we think is the best wide receiver unit Mahomes has had.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Dane Hughes here. I've seen a lot of stat lines in my playing days, but these numbers, they caught my attention. Flight by Yingling. 2.6 carbs, 95 calories, and all the crisp, refreshing flavor you want in a light beer. It's brewed by the oldest brewery in America, so you know it's got some serious history behind it. If you're into stats and taste, you're going to love this beer. Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer and the official beer of Dane and Hughes. DG Yingling & Son, Pottsville, Pennsylvania.
I'm retired, newly retired, so this was my first summer not working.
again. But I had problems with my shoulder. I mean, it was just like 1,000 needles going into my shoulder.
Mike didn't want surgery. 6 months in a sling was not how he planned to spend retirement. That's when he heard about QC Kinetics regenerative treatments.
It's a free appointment. And after the first treatment, the next day, I went out and played golf. The pain just wasn't there.
No drugs, no surgery. Just your body's own natural healing power. Orthobiologic concentrated and placed exactly where you need them to go to work.
I couldn't have asked for a better experience. I don't want to take on Mike Tyson, but he'd know I was there.
Now Mike's heading back to QC Kinetics to get his knees treated.
It changed my first summer being retired. It's one I can remember instead of regret.
Get back to doing what you love. Call QC Kinetics today to schedule your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
For over 30 years, we've been crafting more than jewelry. We've been crafting love stories. This is Gene at House of Diamonds, where our jewelry tells a story, your story. Unlike big-name designers mass-producing so-called exclusive designs by the thousands in overseas factories, we create one-of-a-kind masterpieces by hand right here in our shop. Our custom designs are just that, custom. Designed and crafted with you, for you, and only you. Every custom ring, pendant, or bracelet from House of Diamonds is as unique as the person wearing it. And also, unlike those big-name designers, we'll never use lab diamonds to pad our profits. I've watched prices of lab diamonds drop 90% in the last 2 years, but I'm pretty sure those big designers are still charging the same or more for that big name and designer box. Real stories deserve real diamonds, and one-of-a-kind love deserves one-of-a-kind designer jewelry. Come to House of Diamonds for over 30 years on the southeast corner of College and Quivira.
Let's go! You still got it, but your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Check the back seat. Check the back seat.
Gets in your head, right? Good, because every year dozens of children are forgotten in the back seat. Cars get hot fast and can be deadly, so get it in your head. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WebNow1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
Your favorite neighborhood spots run unsquare. You know the ones. Maybe it's the popular shop that just opened a new location by you, or the big sports bar that's always packed on game day. These places make the neighborhood, and the money spent there stays in your community. Square powers more than 4 million neighborhood businesses worldwide. To learn more, go to square.com. Or just stop by your favorite local business. See you in the neighborhood. Square.
Now that I'm a dad, I can't stop thinking about what would happen to my kids if something happened to me. Like losing the house or not affording college.
Yeah, that used to keep me up at night too. It's why I finally got life insurance from Ethos. It's 100% online. No medical exams, just a few health questions. I got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day.
I never realized it was that simple. Get your free quote at ethos.com/game. That's ethos.com/game.
Rates may vary. Bill monthly. Sample rate 10-year term life policy for a 35-year-old healthy non-smoking male.
J. Rieger & Co. Oh, so good. Quality crafted in Kansas City. J. Rieger & Co. Straight Bourbon Whiskey. Winner of Best Craft Bourbon at the 2025 Ascot Awards. At 90 proof, it's rich, well-balanced, and oh, so good. Quality crafted in Kansas City.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this. Welcome in to the Chiefs Red Half Hour. every day at 11:30 with Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan.
Chiefs Red Half Hour brought to you by All Weather Decks, Kansas City's most respected deck builder. Check them out at allweatherdecks.net. I'm excited this weekend. It's finally going to get reasonably chilly for part of a morning.
A little fall, a little Sunday at Arrowhead could truly feel a little more football weather.
Hell yeah, I'm tired of it. It's too hot for October 16th.
Yeah, Sunday a noon kick, so that's different. And then
mosquitoes aren't even dead yet.
It's the high is 66 on Sunday, so it's going to be good football day.
That's a good day.
Good football day on Sunday. Yeah, you definitely could rock the sweatpants. I'll be out at Arrowhead on Sunday.
Covering the game, or are you going as a fan?
No, that was last week. Back to the press box. Back to the press box on Sunday.
Slumming it,
Yeah.
Got to head back up.
Yeah.
I will say that press box, the insulation they got on those windows is
the front row.
Oh,
it's either
cold,
or
hot.
It won't for this 66. It'll be fine.
It'll be such a small complaint. People are like, "What are you inside, away from the?" I'm just saying, it gets a little chilly by the window.
Yeah, it's because you're not. For those that are saying, "Well, I'm in the stands and I'm freezing my ass off," and you're not. You're also not dressed the same way when you're in the press. You have to. Yeah, so
I don't have hot hands.
But
shoved
nobody's
into
gonna feel
pockets.
sorry for you anyway.
No.
It'll be perfectly fine, Cody, in the press box. I will report back and let you know.
Yeah, please let me know. You know.
I definitely will do that. Before we get back to the wide receiver room, Detroit, days later, is still talking about the Chiefs.
I think most of their fans and their radio people. Less the team.
Yeah.
Dan Campbell to get asked a question, but
the
not
city,
zero with
the city of Detroit is still talking about it. And 97.1 The Ticket. I don't know if this was their midday show, morning, I'm not sure. We actually had one of their evening hosts on, Mark Ryan from The Ticket, just last week. Nice guy. I've known him for a while. This was not him, by the way. These are different hosts. I don't know what his feeling is on this. But they were upset that Patrick Mahomes did not get flagged, but it's better than that.
And he's not going to make it. So Brian Branch pulls up, okay? He pulls up because Mahomes is going to score.
Doesn't need to light him up and get a penalty.
Yeah. He pulls up and he slightly bumps him. Patrick Mahomes turns and looks at Brian Branch, spins the football at his feet, points in his face, gestures again, flexes, and runs off the field. 4 taunts. 4. That's 15, 15 more, 15 more, and 15 more.
Wow.
That's a 60-yard penalty. He taunted him 4 times. Did he get flagged? No. Brian Branch has shown up on the NFL's game day accountability list more than any other player this year. This will be his 4th time. One of his accountability penalties for the very random amount of $11,593 was for taunting, okay? Mahomes taunted Branch 4 times on the touchdown when Branch pulled up and could have lit him up.
Do you think that we will see this week on the accountability list when they start handing out the fines for the week, Juju Smith-Schuster will get fined for his hit on Brian Branch that was unflagged? Because they will fine you for stuff that was unflagged.
Yes.
And do you think that Patrick Mahomes will get flagged for taunting?
I don't know.
He's not going to get flagged
I don't
4
know.
times for the same taunt, but
no, he should.
Just laughable stuff out of Detroit. We've reached a point now where people want more taunting.
I thought we all agreed we wanted less of that.
Now they want more taunting penalties, I should say. Sorry. Now we want them to be even stricter on taunting.
I mean, in fairness, there have been penalties where somebody's flexed on somebody and they've been flagged for it.
Yeah, but he didn't flex on him. He didn't stand over Brian Branch and flex on him.
It would also take place after a touchdown on a kickoff. So I would largely argue, or an extra point, I would largely argue it would not make a difference in the game. But I'm just going to tell you, do yourself a favor.
He wanted 60 yards worth of taunting penalties, too. 60 yards.
Do yourself a favor.
After the touchdown.
Rewatch the play. Just do yourself a favor and go rewatch the play. It is not that hard to understand that he is just inaccurately, in my opinion, describing the situation. I went back and I watched it. First, Patrick Mahomes flexes every time he scores a rushing touchdown. I just want to be clear. Every time he scores one, Drew, I don't know how many highlights I got to pull up for you, Gold. He does this. Every time. 100% without flaw. When he runs one in, he does that. He wasn't flexing on Brian Branch. He's doing his touchdown celebration. The ball also went the opposite way of Branch, so he's wrong there.
Correct.
It went the opposite direction, so I don't know how you could throw a ball at somebody. If I threw a ball at you, it can't go behind me. So, let's eliminate that one. He does say something to Branch, I will say. I don't know exactly what he was saying. He's clearly saying something to Branch. They're talking about the flag or the penalty or something. He maybe talks a little. But players talk all the time. But also, This is what you're down to, man. You're down to winning.
They're
more
down
taunting.
bad. They're down bad right now in Detroit.
Why? They're 4-2. They're tied for the lead in the division. They're one of the best teams in football.
Also,
down bad. This is a weird time to be down bad.
They do the same job that we do. And I don't know if he was trying to be funny, but he wanted 4 separate flags. He wanted 60 yards worth of penalties, Cody. He didn't just want one. He thought there should have been 60 yards, which is not a thing. 60 yards worth of taunting penalties on one player.
I will say that is one of the knocks that people really have against Mahomes is they don't like that he tempts your defense into penalties. And what I would say to that is very simple is you should actually want your quarterback to do it, not be bothered that Mahomes does. Mahomes is good at executing the sideline as his friend. It is your friend because if they hit you out of bounds, it is a penalty and everybody knows that. So he gets to use that to his advantage as a smart NFL player. You should be rooting for your quarterback to learn that, not mad that Patrick Mahomes does.
It sounded like, Drew, you thought you would have been fine with a taunting call then. Because you said...
He flexes after every touchdown he scores.
I mean, I didn't see the play, but I'm saying that
you did. I was standing right next to you. We were both at the game. No,
yeah,
you
but
saw the play.
You never saw it.
I don't remember what he did. Like, I don't remember whether he was right next to him or whatever.
He wasn't right. He was probably 5 yards away from him. And he turned. So Branch is there. Mahomes turns to him and does the flex.
Well, then, I think
this thing.
Yeah.
That's what he does after every single one.
I understand
every
that. Every
rushing touchdown.
I didn't say he should have been called or not. I said we've seen people get called for flexing at other players. It's happened this season.
Usually
that's
flexing
all I'm saying.
over players.
Yeah, you can't. I can't stand above you.
All I'm saying is we have seen it happen this season. Whether he should have been or not this time, I don't know because I haven't seen the play.
So I'm not.
We've seen it happen.
I would tell you, do yourself a favor, and go watch the play and listen to the things that this guy is talking about. Patrick Mahomes runs in. He then gets bumped by Branch. It appears Branch says something to him, and Mahomes says, that's on you, or something like that. It appears to be something like that. He then, while backtracking, as in getting further away from Branch, flexes his arm and runs off the field, and he spun the ball the opposite way as Branch. It's just none of it's accurate.
Yeah. I mean, as this text said, this is as simple as I can put it. I think it's a great text from the 620. If we don't remember it and you have to go back and say, I need to watch it, and this is not just directed at you, Drew, I just mean in general, then it clearly wasn't that egregious. If it's like, wait, I don't remember exactly, well, then it obviously wasn't that big of a deal.
Like, we remember if somebody stands over them and flexes, or does now you can get a penalty for like the throat slash or any of this stuff.
I just
in
don't
between
think
there.
any. I don't think any. Deep down, I don't deep down think Detroit Lions fans want more taunting. Who wants to be like, man, you better go get that guy for taunting? No, we understand. Yeah, like if you just knocked out a player, you can't hover over him and start flexing over him. Okay, that's gonna like I understand.
I think you should be able to. You know, if somebody gets dunked on in the NBA, they get pointed at and everything like that's fine by me. Go ahead.
The example I was giving though, like if you knock somebody out on a big hit and he's clearly concussed, yeah, you can't go stand over him and flex. That's in bad taste. That's a terrible idea. But other time, if Chris Jones sacks Geno Smith on Sunday, he can immediately get up and flex like this, and that should not be a penalty.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think taunting should be a penalty at all.
Period.
Under any circumstance. I do not think it should be a penalty.
That's what I'm saying.
I think it's a stupid penalty. I think it should be erased from the league. I have no idea why we've created. And by the way, we excuse all the other behavior in sports. We're like, well, they're allowed to be super mad. It's a sport and we're competitive and we do all that. We excuse it all away, except when they like celebrate doing a good thing. I don't understand. I don't understand why taunting. Well, I guess some of it is like the role models, and we don't want little kids standing over other little kids. Look, if you want to have a taunting penalty in high school, cool, I get it. They're kids, right? They're 17 years old. Maybe don't, let's show a little grace here.
Yeah, as long as you're not. I mean,
you're full-grown adults being paid millions of dollars. I don't care if someone stands over my quarterback and flexes.
If somebody gets hyped up after a play, because that's there's always different point of emphasis every year. It seems like the one pushback I guess I would have is the NFL claimed they were going to call it more, and so that's why maybe Lions fans are mad because then why wasn't it? But also it's like, but who wants like
nobody wants it, but you got to be consistent, I think, and that's what everybody asks.
But they're never consistent on taunting because it's such a subjective thing.
I mean, if you turn and you point, I guess, or you turn and face the guy and you flex,
But it's so hard,
If Mahomes just walked and flexed at the crowd, it's not taunting. And maybe Mahomes didn't even mean for it to be taunting.
He was still facing Brian Branch, but he was backing away. And I'm not saying he wasn't showing Brian, but like this is like the fine line of taunting. I think largely what they were trying to get rid of is the ones that eventually lead to fights. I point directly in your face.
Says,
I stand over you.
How come people weren't mad about Jameson Williams when he was it smacking the imaginary ass? You guys saw that like these. Yes, I know what you're talking. That celebration, everybody does that one in the league these days. If anything, they find them after. Remember, Amon-Ra St. Brown had one last year, and I don't know if he got flagged, but he definitely got fined after.
This is a league that is so dumb that they once eliminated and made illegal group celebrations. Okay, they don't.
It's a no fun league.
They once said, "Hey, whoa, leapfrog, get that out of the league. This is about celebrating by yourself.
You can't dunk on the goalpost like Gonzalez did anymore.
It's so stupid.
That one, I still don't understand. Like, what's the thought of why that can't be allowed?
Safety issue, I guess.
Oh, they're playing football. Safety issue. They're playing football. Tony Gonzalez unguarded cannot do a dunk on a goalpost.
Look, you want to stop a person from treating the field goal post like a stripper pole? Fine, but like we can draw a line, a reasonable line,
you know what?
pretty much anywhere else.
Cody, they you know what? They could go ahead and let that happen too.
Wow, you can't have them. You can't have them grinding on the goalpost. Okay, I mean, come on.
I'll draw the
line there. Come on, Drew. Come on.
But anywhere below that, I'm pretty much in. You know.
When somebody gets mossed, I want them to be able to walk up and tip the top of their head right in the player's face. You just got mossed, man.
Maybe they got rid of the dunking. Somebody pointing out on Twitch. Maybe they got rid of the dunking when people used to still do like the dog pee on, like used to hike up your leg. Maybe they're just like, hey, leave the goalpost out of it. It didn't have anything to do here, okay?
Well, remember the big thing for a while was the props, right? Because you had the Sharpie. Like they were like, you can't have the props. All right, so that was their big emphasis. It's probably been 15 or 20 years.
That was another dumb thing.
Someone says the goalpost got bent one time.
Rims get broken in the
Fine,
NBA. You're still allowed to dunk.
Add that to the
Although
thought.
you're not allowed to hold on to
After the game, you know what? Then take it out of his check the next game. If that's by the way, that should be allowed. If I want to dunk, it's fine. But if I damage the goalpost, take it out of my check. Fine, take it out of my check. Someone says they can do the stanky leg though. That's right, they can. Yep.
And the Dougie, and they can do all the ones they traditionally do.
Anyway.
But Mahomes' celebration when he runs in a touchdown is exactly what he did. He was not doing it to rub into Brian Branch's face. That is
he
fine, but like
he
that
was doing it.
He wasn't doing it right in his face. He was backing away.
It wasn't taunting because he didn't do it in his face, but like tact like he wasn't doing it in his direction. Of course he was doing it in his direction. Yeah.
It's also a rich thing to be like.
Someone says that delaying the game is the problem. Fair point on the goalpost. Okay.
BS.
Fair enough.
If Rashee Rice scores a touchdown, pulls a Sharpie out of his sock, signs the football, and throws it into the crowd, I'm all for that. The NFL has enough footballs.
That's a fair point. Delaying the game is so stupid. Like,
Shaq destroyed backboards. They don't outlaw dunking. That's true.
NFL stinks for this type of stuff.
Yeah. I mean,
Makes
again,
the
let them have some personality.
Yeah.
That's why they call them the No Fun League. Let's get back to the team on the field. The Chiefs, while they will not have their full complement of weapons, we talked about this. We don't think Simmons is going to play on Sunday. So they will not have their starting left tackle. They will, for the first time, have all their wide receivers together, Gold. Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, their second-round pick, their first-round pick, their big free agent acquisition from a couple of years ago, Hollywood Brown, Taekwon, who's had a good step. They will all be on a football field together on Sunday. And you and I agree that if we limit it to wide receiver, and I actually think if you expand it, it would still qualify. But if you limit it to wide receiver, this is his best wide receiver unit by far as an aggregate whole. Not that Rashee Rice is Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is going to end up going down probably as one of the 10 most talented wide receivers of this era. And so, it's going to be hard for Rashee Rice to live up to that standard, but he can be a top 20 wide receiver in the NFL. And when we couple it with the other guys they have in there, he's never had a weapon group this deep. He's never had this many weapons in the offense together at one time. Hell, if they had an elite back, I would start comping this to the amount of weapons he had in 2018. I think they're going to get ready. I think they're going to score 30 points a game the rest of the year because of this. If the wide receivers stay healthy, I think they're a 30-point plus offense the rest of the season.
Wouldn't be surprised if they average that. I wouldn't be surprised. I think clearly in the Mahomes era, 1 through 5, this is the best wide receiver room. Yes.
1 through 2, it's not.
Yeah. Tyreek Hill is going to be a Hall of Famer when his career is over. And we're just talking wide receiver, as you said. Yes. The best ever would be when they had Hill and Kelsey, if we're including that. That would be the best weaponry. Hill, Kelsey, Watkins. You had prime Kelsey, prime Hill with Sammy Watkins. that is overall better. However, 1 through 5, I like this setup pretty darn good as well. And Adam Schefter today even said he called Rashee Rice a potential top 10 receiver in football. Now,
I don't think it's
it might be able to
say
get
that's
there.
possible.
I think he's a top 20 already heading into this game. Like now, if we're updating our knowing that he's good to go, he will have to do a lot by the end of the year to show that he's a top 10. But I think it's on the table when you have the offense that he has, the quarterback that he has, the weapons around him now that to open some things up. I think it's in play. I don't think he's already a top 10 though.
I don't know, but I do think I definitely agree with Schefter in the sense that he can't be that. Here's an example. Here's what you would view as the top 10 wide receivers last year. By the way, there weren't even 10 wide receivers in the top 10 receiving yardage last year. There were 2 tight ends, or in the top 11,
Okay.
Trey McBride and Brock Bowers. This is the category you'd be keeping if you're top 10. Jamar, Justin Jefferson. Already you're like, okay, bit of a stretch. But I would say that those guys are in their own little class, own little separate category, to be kept separate, and Puka Nacua, in my opinion, to be kept on their own little end, and let's just leave them out of the conversation. Brian Thomas Jr., Drake London, Amon Ra, Judy, Malik Neighbors, CeeDee Lamb, these are the other guys who finished at the top of the league. I do think he can enter that category. I'm not saying he's those guys yet.
Yeah,
but the top 10, he's definitely any of those. Any of the, Nico Collins, DK Metcalf, that category wide receiver?
That's like the top 50, that's like the top
20.
15, top 20, yeah.
He already belongs in that class.
For sure.
But just imagine an offense that has scored 30 points 3 times in a row. Like, we're talking about a team that's averaging 30 points, not scoring 30 times in a row, 2 times in a row.
I got you.
But is averaging 30 points a game over their last 3 games, or 32 points per game. Adding in a top 15 wide receiver. I just think about any of the offenses. Think about Seattle's had one of the better offenses in the league if all of a sudden they were just adding back in Jackson Smith and Jigba. Or just adding, and look, he might be putting himself in an upper end category anyway. Or Denver adding back in Cortland Sutton. Whatever guy you think, and their offense isn't good, that's what they're doing. They're an already efficient offense, and now they're adding in a top guy.
It depends on how, does Rashee Rice pick up right where he left off last year? Or does it take multiple weeks? It's been a while since he played in a football game.
What's the last guy coming off a major injury who was one of the better wide receivers? How much time did Puka miss last year? Not long enough.
I know people push back and say, because I mentioned this last night on that betting show when we were discussing what Rice could do Sunday. They're like, well, he's not coming back from an injury. He's coming back from suspension. Well, it's both. Yes, he would have been ready to go week 1 if that's your argument.
He hasn't played since
but he still hasn't played a full NFL game, a regular season game since the injury. So it's still something to watch. I think he's fully good to go. There's no limitation. I'm with you guys. And I think he's going to get off to a very good start. And if he picks up where he left off last year, well, then he definitively is a top 10. Right now, he's in that 15 to 20 range is what I would say as far as where I think he is at. But he definitely has room to move up. If we expand it out to non-wide receivers as well, if I tell you, though, that they have a wide receiver room of Brown, Worthy, Rice, mixed in with Tyquan Thornton and Juju and Travis Kelce, that's why they can be of course, Patrick Mahomes, they can be the number 1 offense in football the rest of the way.
Are some of these guys just not going to play? Or are they just going to defensive line it and just fresh body teams to death? Because
game to game will be different. There will be a game plan on Sunday, let's just say, where Tyquan Thornton, they think there's some opportunities down the field. We're going to see him more. The next week, maybe against the Commanders, they don't like that. And so just like last week, Tyquan Thornton will be on the sideline a majority of the game. Or the next week, it'll vary. I think there's the constant.
If they're behind, Tyquan might get a couple more snaps to go deep.
Yeah, the constant of Worthy and Rice. Those 2 guys are going to get the majority of targets every week if we're averaging it out. But in terms of Thornton and Schuster, and where does that go? I think that'll vary. In Hollywood Brown, that'll vary a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with that. But I also think, I'm just kind of curious. And this is the thing that we'll be monitoring for the next couple of weeks. How do they handle the rotation? Is Juju and Hollywood just not getting any pass anymore? Does EGE stand if there's a couple of guys who just don't get snaps anymore? I understand it. Everybody, that means everybody gets a piece of the pie. Are they going to continue that trend? Or are there going to be guys who grow dissatisfied with how they're being used in the offense? And we know this. Winning cures all this. If you're winning, nobody will say a word. If they're 4-0 in the next 4 games, even though Hollywood Brown's snaps get cut in half, he's not going to be a loud voice saying my snaps are cut. They've won 4 games in a row. Traditionally, winning cures those things. You didn't hear about A.J. Brown until they started struggling in football games and losing them. Right? A lot of times, that's just the way it works in the NFL.
He's also a different player. He's been outspoken even when they were winning a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
He is flat out admitted that for him, he wants to be the star and he wants the accolades more than like. I'm not making this up. Go look at there.
Yeah,
he even acknowledged like he as much as he wants to win. No, he'd rather have the stats. It's a backwards approach, but that's what he was honest about.
Well, he's gotten
now
both.
he has since
At times.
tried to back away from those comments a little bit, but
It's hard to be a team guy and say, I care about my stats more than anything else. Do you think Rashee Rice will lead the team in receiving yardage on Sunday?
I think he'll lead the team in targets, so that gives him a good chance to.
I mean, that makes you probably think yes.
I also think out of the first 15 plays, he's targeted at least once, and maybe the very first play of the game. I think it's it's either going to be a quick 5-yard slant with chance for yards after the catch, or it's going to be a bubble screen. It'll have Juju out there blocking for him, and Rashee Rice will take it up the sideline for 8 to 10 yards.
Can I point out one other thing about Thornton that we haven't discussed in here?
Yeah.
Chiefs can have 7 wide receivers active on game day. Did anybody not do the math on
Well,
this?
let's
Rashee Rice comes back. They're up
Rice,
one too many
Worthy,
guys.
Brown,
Juju. I mean,
Thornton is 5.
Like, are they going to have?
Who are you worried
or
about?
not 7?
Who are you?
They're not activating.
Who are you? Yeah, Brownlee. I mean, Brownlee got a.
But Brownlee hasn't been active
maybe.
anyway.
They don't activate.
Brownlee
him.
was activated this past week. He was in uniform.
He was? Okay,
Yeah.
well then maybe
Him and
that's-
Rose were both in uniform.
Yeah, they both were.
Rose was on special teams.
I don't think it really changed the difference.
I was
Now
like,
Brownlee's not on the team, or he's on the.
No, he's back on the team. So I
practice
guess he
squad or
becomes
whatever.
inactive or
Yeah.
Royals becomes inactive.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out.
That's not an
Royals
easy.
is really interesting in the sense that Royals could be the inactive player. And so, like, and look, it's a redshirt year for him. What role does he have on this team?
Special teams.
He's the 10th receiving.
Oh, by the way,
option.
Remigio is who we also forgot. So
Yeah, Remigio. So that's 7 guys. I mean, they're not going to have all those. Someone's going to. It's probably just Brownlee or Remigio, and they roll Thornton into special teams. Not probably Remigio because he's a big time special teams player. I'm asking. Dave Tobe's talking, and then it was making me think about it. He had said that there was a chance they could have up to 7 receivers active on there, and so we'll see whether or not that's something they actually do.
They signed him back to the Brownlee to the practice
squad,
squad because he's waived. They waived him.
I thought they brought him back.
He was waived 2 days ago. That's what I thought. So I don't know if they've signed him back.
It might
to
just be practice squad. I just thought I saw that he was back with the team after they had to make the roster move.
He was active for 5 of the first 6 games, and then they just waived him once to make room for Rashee Rice, who's back on the roster. We don't know what else is going to happen roster-wise later this week. There could be something else that happens, so who knows?
Yeah, especially with Simmons, there's definitely a possibility of a roster.
That's right. All right, up next, let's get to a little what's trending. We'll talk more about the roster, not necessarily what's going on with Josh Simmons, but what it means for the offensive line moving forward. If, in fact, it's something that's going to be more than just 1 week, then we'll also get to all 32 right here on Cody and Gold.
What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? It's Creed Humphrey. You're listening to Cody and Gold, weekdays 10 to 2 on your home for Chiefs football, 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Every NFL Thursday is your chance to hit the jackpot on FanDuel. Because with FanDuel's Thursday touchdown jackpot, you can win a share of $2 million in bonus bets each week. To get in on this Thursday's action, all you have to do is place an anytime touchdown score bet before the game kicks off. And if your player scores the first or last touchdown of the game, you'll win your bet plus a share of bonus bets. Just visit FanDuel.com/Alex to take a shot at the jackpot. That's FanDuel.com/Alex for your chance to win a share of $2 million in bonus bets. Play your game with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. Opt-in required. Must apply profit boost token on select market. Prize pool will be split equally among all eligible participants who made the correct first or last touchdown pick. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 21 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
More than a few of our patients have talked to me about their first time, but it's not the first time you're probably thinking about. It's the first time that erectile dysfunction ruined the moment. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if you're over 50, it's likely that you've had that first time yourself. But the good news is that if you're like most men, that first time can be the last time that ED impacts your sex life. At Heartland Men's Health, we're experts in treating ED. We've treated tens of thousands of men using protocols with success rates well over 90%. And those treatments have, in most cases, made sex great again for both them and their partners. You could even find that you're performing like you haven't in years. So if ED has been affecting your intimacy, It's time to make the last time that happens the last time that happens. For just $99, you'll receive blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600. That's 844-447-6600. Or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
I'm McCall with Lee Summit Subaru, and it's time to make a big deal out of nothing. Announcing Lee Summit Subaru's 0% event. Up to 0% financing on select 2025 Subaru models for 72 months. And we have the largest selection of Subaru certified vehicles in Kansas City, starting as low as 1.9% for 72 months.
0% event and a lifetime warranty. Fall in love with driving again at Lee Summit Subaru.
Based on January 2025 through June 2025 Kansas City inventory listings.
Hello, Kansas City. Christopher Youngers here with Cafe Trio. The seasons, they are changing. And if you haven't seen Cafe Trio during the holidays, from Halloween, the Plaza Lights, and Christmas with all of our decorations, well, then you've missed out on one of the most seasonally spectacular dining experiences in town. Offering live music, very spirited holiday decorations, and farm-to-table fresh menus, Cafe Trio is the place to be for the holidays. 45th and Main, cafetriokc.com.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code CODE to get an extra 35 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code CODE for a 35 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code CODE for a 35 cents per gallon bonus.
Attention, have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-750-2525. That's 800-750-2525. Again, that's 800-750-2525.
Your favorite neighborhood spots run unsquare. You know the ones. Maybe it's the popular shop that just opened a new location by you, or the big sports bar that's always packed on game day. These places make the neighborhood, and the money spent there stays in your community. Square powers more than 4 million neighborhood businesses worldwide. To learn more, go to square.com or just stop by your favorite local business. See you in the neighborhood. Square.
Now that I'm a dad, I can't stop thinking about what would happen to my kids if something happened to me, like losing the house or not affording college.
Yeah, that used to keep me up at night too. It's why I finally got life insurance from Ethos. It's 100% online. No medical exams, just a few health questions. I got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day.
I never realized it was that simple. Get your free quote at ethos.com/game. That's ethos.com/game.
Rates may vary. Bill monthly. Sample rate 10-year term life policy for a 35-year-old healthy non-smoking male.
What's up, KC? It's Hollywood Brown. Tune in on game days to hear the play-by-play with Mitch, Danny, and Kling on your home for Chiefs football, 96.5 The Fan.
KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station. What's trending?
What's trending? Brought to you by Telly Tire and Auto Centers. Winning starts with a great drive since 1942. Telly certified techs have delivered complete car care with top brand tires and expert auto service. Keep your drive going. Take it to Telly. Visit TellyTire.com today.
Number one on What's Trending, little practice update from Arrowhead. Brashard Smith back at practice. He missed yesterday with an illness. He'll get work today. As expected, Josh Simmons, personal reasons, won't practice for the Chiefs today. We'll talk more about the roster fallout of that coming up right after What's Trending.
Yeah, obviously a concern. Seems very, 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 very unlikely he plays this week.
Yeah.
Although they have not technically ruled him out. The question is, for how long will he be missing? Next up on What's Trending, the Blue Jays win 13-4 last night over the Mariners. They get that series back to 2-1. The Brewers and Dodgers tonight at 5:08. Dodgers lead that series 2-0. The Blue Jays Mariners also tonight, 7:33 first pitch. See if they can even up the series or if the Mariners take a commanding 3-1 lead in Seattle. They got their ass kicked last night.
Yeah,
Just a little
13-4.
classic little beatdown.
Elsewhere on What's Trending, Thursday night football tonight. Cody, I know you're locked in every Thursday to these games.
Depends on the game,
every Thursday. No, Steelers, Bengals tonight in Cincinnati. The Steelers 5.5-point favorites. Later in the show, we'll give maybe some thoughts on it. I actually think Cincinnati could cover tonight if I had to make a decision on that bet. But Drew's locked in tonight. I know that.
Last Thursday, they brought me in. But if this game's 12-6 in the third quarter, I'm out.
Yeah. Drew will be fully back into Cincy if they win tonight.
I just asked him that if they lose tonight, if he'll just agree that they're done and they should trade Trey
He
Hendrickson.
said no.
That depends on how the 6, 7, 8, 9 around him goes in the AFC.
What?
Oh, are you saying like how the rest of the teams
If they
who are in
lose
that?
and 5, 6, 7, and 9 all lose, then I mean they're just as statistically they're right there technically.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
If they win, then yeah, I think they have a legit
Fair
shot
enough.
at the playoffs.
Fair enough.
If they lose, it'll obviously be a lot tougher.
0% if they lose tonight. Next up on What's Trending, Mike Evans is scheduled to return today for the Buccaneers at practice. Not sure yet if he'll be available on Sunday. Good signs point to that being a possibility for them. They have obviously just been losing players on offense all year. For them to finally get one back would be good for the Buccaneers. Buccaneers are 5.5-point underdogs against the Detroit Lions on Monday Night Football this week.
That is What's Trending here on Cody and Gold. Coming up in 25 minutes, Paul Charchian of Guillotine League's going to join us, talk a little fantasy football, who to play tonight in that Thursday night matchup. How do you approach fantasy football for the Chiefs' point of view? How many wide receivers are in play? What does that mean for Patrick Mahomes? And of course, any other of the big fantasy football storylines tonight. So, Josh Simmons, let's get back into that. You guys heard the press conference yesterday. We talked about it a great deal yesterday. Nobody knows ultimately the exact reason. We're not going to speculate on that. However, it's Thursday. He's still not back with the team. It is reasonable for any person with some common sense that he's probably not playing on Sunday. Okay? We can all agree with that. People might disagree with the discussion that even talking about it for some reason, but let's just be real. That's probably unlikely he plays Sunday. And it is more than valid to wonder, okay, is it going to be a 1-week thing or longer? Without knowing anything, without asking what the reason is he going to be available anytime soon? And they get the wide receiver room fully back, and yet again, the whole offense, though, is not available because their starting left tackle is not available. It's just a bummer, plain and simple, from a football side of things. And I think Jalen Moore gives a lot of fans confidence, though, based on how he looked against the Lions, and knowing that Jalen Moore was the left tackle they had signed in the offseason just in case they couldn't draft Josh Simmons. Now it looks like a security blanket, but remember, they signed Jalen Moore before they ever drafted Josh Simmons.
He was actually the security blanket in case they didn't get someone in the draft.
Yeah.
Not that they didn't think he could start for their team. Look, they didn't want to pay Dan Moore. They wanted to pay Ronnie Stanley.
Yeah.
He wasn't available. And they went out and got Moore because he was, Jalen Moore, that is, the best price, bang for your buck, available guy who could start for you. Look, he might be a very decent NFL left tackle starter. But yeah, I'm a little bummed that we spent all this time talking about having their full complement on offense, and now they are missing their left tackle for what is a undetermined amount of time. To your point, we're not speculating. Again, I don't want to rehash the idea that we don't need to know what he's personally dealing with.
Yeah.
But we do not know. And I'll just tell you, people are asking the question that is, does Simmons play this year? That is a question being asked by the people surrounding the situation. Is Simmons going to be on a football field in 2025 is a real thing that people are wondering now. And we don't know. He could, maybe he could be back next week. I don't,
he could be back next week. He could be out for 2 months. He could be out for the season. We don't know, but it is a real possibility. All of that is a real possibility. And so, do you feel good enough if Jalen Moore has to play for multiple games?
It scares me
at this point in time. He looked good in his first game, so I think people are feeling good about it right now.
Here's why it scares me. One, he's not been a starter at any point of his NFL career, full-time starter at any point of his NFL career for a reason, Gold. He's been a backup to Trent Williams, and he's been a backup to Simmons. That's on purpose. That's because there were people better than him doing the job that they liked more. That's fine. Doesn't mean he can't be a capable guy. Typically, and I tried to warn Drew about this with like Jake Browning. Typically, when players who are not full-time starters become full-time starters, eventually their warts get exposed the longer they are a starter. So if for some reason Jalen has to start the rest of the year for the Chiefs, I imagine there'll be some exposure points in his game that are taken advantage of by some teams. Good news is I think he's at least a league average-ish NFL tackle, so I don't think the offensive line's going to fall apart, but it relies on Kingsley not backsliding and staying as good as he's been the last 3 games, Creed and Trey not backsliding, and Jawan Taylor, who's fixed a lot of his problems the last 3 weeks, staying at that level. It just feels like it's more volatility than I was preparing to have on the offensive line, which seemed,
but they're better
seemed like it had
positioned
gelled into a perfect stance.
But they're still, remember, if they would never have drafted Josh Simmons, going into the season with Jalen Moore, people would have been nervous, but that was viewed as an upgrade and someone that they believed as an organization that could start at tackle if they needed, because they didn't know for sure they were going to be able to draft Simmons. And so I think they're comfortable with Jalen Moore. The fact that Kingsley is playing better football and has seemed to settle in now at left guard should also help. This isn't week 1 where Kingsley's trying to learn a new position and you feel like you have a player that ceiling is a little bit lower, because Josh Simmons was playing at a Pro Bowl type of level. He was. Yeah. I'm not saying he was playing at Hall of Famer. Send him to Canton, okay?
He was starting to sniff all pro
but
level.
He was playing at that level. Jalen Moore, probably not capable of playing at that level. That's fine for the short term. The short term, I think they're fine. It's more of is there a long-term issue? And that's something we don't have the answer to yet, but it is in play. Everything's on the table right now. We just don't know.
In the short term, I feel great about it. Chiefs deserve a lot of credit for bringing in Moore to offer themselves a safety net. They probably didn't think it was going to be for non-football related reasons, but they gave themselves and positioned themselves so they weren't going to get caught with their pants down like last year. They weren't going to get stuck in a spot where if there was a single injury or unavailable tackle that they weren't screwed like most of last year. They're already still in better position. I will say, though, this is always the fear with any injuries, and this happens to a lot of teams just for natural cases, like natural injuries versus off the field stuff currently with Simmons. But that's it. The depth is gone now. Gold. Taylor has to stay healthy. Moore has to stay healthy. That is other than Patrick Mahomes, those are the 2 most important, maybe Chris Jones, 2-3 most important players to stay healthy for this team going forward now, right? You put it
sure.
Besides Chris Jones and Patrick Mahomes, is there anybody you put above those 2?
You don't have, you don't have any more depth really there on the offensive line. You don't. So maybe we'll get some more clarity on potential timeline at some point in the next week. I don't know. We're all in the same boat here. Someone says, any idea what's up with him? No, we're not going to speculate on. Obviously, we've gone around and talked to people and texted with people, but we're not going to speculate because nobody knows for sure. So that's where we're at on that.
Yeah, and this doesn't stop that I hope he's okay. I hope that he's safe. Yeah. And then I hope that, whatever he's going through, he finds a good balance for himself. Or for whoever.
Timeline-wise, though, everything's on the table.
Yeah, I'll just tell you, timeline, he could miss 1 more week or all of the weeks. That's legitimately, as explained to me, pretty much the timeline of how long his absence could be. Anywhere from a week, another week, to the year. So it is, and Moore has become now a much more important player. And a player, I'll be honest, that I kind of expect that we need to talk about Moore's performance on Monday, whether good or bad, that he is a now more important player for them going forward than we were originally anticipating. The same way we were watching Kingsley, the same way we were watching Simmons, and we were watching these other players early on in the season. I'll be keeping a close eye on Jalen Moore the next couple of weeks and see how he holds up. See how he does the job. Hopefully it's as good as it was last week. It was good last week. he did a nice job against Aiden Hutchinson and others. He held his own against what I think is a very decent to very good defensive line for the Detroit Lions. So, I'm not even meant to be that end. It's good.
All right, let's get to a little all 32 here on Cody and Gold. So this is the last one coming up on Monday. We've had 5 after Monday doubleheader Monday Night Football games. And when we get to Monday, I love it. I love having 2 games. But you know what it does? It hurts our afternoon red zone action. It hurts our noon and 3 o'clock window games. And then you couple it with the fact that we've got these 8:30 London or Dublin or Madrid, wherever they're going these days, London this Sunday. You're all of a sudden taking away 2 games from a potential noon or 3 o'clock window. So I bring this up that I'm glad the Monday Night Football doubleheaders are done after this week. I think it actually is a nice balance early on in the year. Do it when these teams, nobody's so far down in the dumps, 2 games in that we don't care. It's smart to do the doubleheaders early. It's harder to do them later. But it's just the way it coincides with the international games. You're taking away multiple games from your prime window. So enjoy one more Monday Night Football doubleheader on Monday.
I like they're only staggered an hour apart ones better than I like the 6 to 9 split. Like this Monday night, because the odds are I'm not staying up to watch Texans Seahawks. And it's not even like a knock on those teams. It's just like 9 o'clock. I'm staying up till midnight to watch Seattle? Nah, I'm fine.
Oh, it's getting over before midnight.
No. Is it?
Yeah, the game starts at 9. I think it's getting over that's like 12:30.
This one is this past week. It was a 7 o'clock.
No,
they do split. Some are 6 to 9
p.m.
Oh, well, I'm just talking about it. You're acting like it's every Monday night.
No. I'm saying this week I'm not staying up to watch Seattle till midnight.
No. Yeah, that has to be a good game for that to be the case. If that's 9, it's because it's out west. That's why.
Yep. That's how it worked a couple weeks ago. They've been splitting
like that Chiefs
it a
game
little bit.
preseason when it was at 9 o'clock.
I guess a question that I saw.
That was Friday night preseason.
I can't remember which national person asked the question, but the question I would have is, would you get more? Like they got like 22 million viewers for the last time they did a Monday Night doubleheader a week ago. Would they get that many if it was just one game on both channels? Because that's 22 million between ESPN and ABC.
Yeah.
Would they have gotten 22 million if they just put one game on? And that's the question the TV networks are going to have to ask them and answer for themselves, not us, as they continue to look at these things. I can't believe that this became a story at all, and yet we're going to talk about it now. How about the growing feud between Caleb Williams and Troy Aikman? Have you guys been following this closely?
Yeah, they didn't talk to each other last week during the prep of the game or whatever.
That's right. Quote, Caleb Williams, I didn't get to meet with him. Tried to meet with him, reached out and tried to meet, but that didn't happen, so moved on from it. Went back and played the game, came out 3-2. I was here late doing lifts or whatever.
The audio of it.
Didn't have a chance. Yeah, let's play it.
Did you meet with Troy last week leading up to the game?
I did not.
Stuff, or?
I did not. I didn't get to meet with him. Tried to meet with him, and then reached out and tried to meet, and that didn't happen. And so, moved on from it. Went and played the game and came out 3-2.
Why did you not?
I was here late and timings didn't meet up, lifting or whatever the case may have been, and then tried to call him after the game or not after the game, after the day, that day that I was supposed to meet with him, and it didn't get through.
It sounds like they don't like the coverage Aikman's giving their team. They think that Aikman is kind of anti them a little bit, and he felt snubbed by the idea. Part of this is just like, this goes back to the Tom Brady thing. I will say, if you're telling me the Tom Brady thing's no big deal, then you can't care that Caleb Williams blew off Troy Aikman. Can't be both. Because it's not important and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that Caleb Williams.
It sounds like he tried to talk to him.
I think
Troy
this
Aikman
is...
says he's blowing me off. He was like, he's busy at the times I was not busy on purpose,
This is a nothing burger, I think, to me. He was working out late. He was trying to get some extra lift in. Time didn't work out. He tried to call it, didn't work.
Has
and Troy
Aikman
was mad about it. He thought that he deserved
I didn't
the time.
like that he called it.
Has Aikman been critical of Caleb Williams?
Yes.
In an unfair way or just normal analysis, or is Aikman taking it too far?
He called it, they were mocking some of the stuff he was saying in the broadcast, like, it was lucky, whoop-de-doo, who cares? And then people did the same thing to Aikman they did with Patrick Mahomes, which they pointed out their first, 50 career games. Caleb Williams' numbers are quite a bit better. You might remember, Troy Aikman famously is a bit thin-skinned about this. Drew, he got caught with our guy Josh Briscoe, sending out a tweet because they said, Patrick Mahomes has the same amount of career passing yards as Troy Aikman in 50 or 30% of the games. And he had said, talk to me when he's got 66% of my Super Bowls.
And he did that very quickly.
And people pointed that out to Troy Aikman. I think some of this is Troy Aikman feels like I'm one of the all-time greats and I'm not being respected like an all-time
That's exactly
great.
right. That's
I think
exactly what it
there's a huge
is.
part of this where
Yep.
like he's got an ego problem where he doesn't feel like they're showing him the proper respect.
Yeah, his name doesn't get
Troy
brought up.
Aikman.
His name doesn't get brought up with the great quarterbacks the same way.
Yep.
And there's a lot of these young guys are better. Doesn't mean they're going to accomplish as much as Troy Aikman did, because Troy Aikman accomplished a lot. He's a Hall of Famer and all that. But they're more athletically gifted. And so some of them are having quicker starts to their career than he did. It took him a lot longer. And yeah, I think he doesn't like I didn't know if there was like something he said about Caleb Williams specifically.
He called a couple of plays lucky that he made. It was just like,
but it wasn't like a personal attack.
No,
well,
I would say it was
then Caleb
largely-
Williams hopefully isn't intentionally ducking him either, because that'd be pretty childish as well.
It didn't sound like he ducked him.
It doesn't, right? It doesn't. But if that was actually happening, I would say, all right, both people need to kind of grow up in the situation, but it really isn't a big deal.
So the game tonight's not in Pittsburgh, it's in Cincy, but the NFLPA is backing the players, the Steelers players who are concerned about their turf. And one of the things, this is a regularly occurring issue, it seems like once or twice a year, maybe this happens, where the turf in Pittsburgh is problematic. And Mike Tomlin said there was a significant injury to one of the captains, special teams captain Miles Killebrew. His season was ended. Basically, part of the turf is an issue. NFLPA rep Cameron Hayward, of course, part of the Steelers, complained about it, and they're replacing the turf, or supposed to, but I think that they should just go away from turf and play on grass. I understand it. The game's not going to be as fast.
So it's really tough.
The game's going to be a little bit slower to us on TV. Players won't look as fast, but a lot of our favorite players are not going to be injured as often, it seems like, as it's occurring here over the last few seasons, because on grass, you're a lot less likely to be getting those Achilles, ACL type of injuries where your cleats get stuck in the turf.
Yeah, I mean, it's been discussed for a while because of New York, MetLife, and that turf where more injuries than any other field happen. So I think this conversation about natural grass and
it's happening more often,
and everything has been brought up for a couple of years. I think the issue is, how can you figure out how to accomplish that with the climate? I would also say for years and years, long before everybody switched to this, a lot of people were also on outdoor stadiums, able to figure it out. Like it's tricky in Pittsburgh. I don't know exactly enough about how you grow grass at a certain level to be confident to play football games on it versus playing on turf or whatever. All I know is there are definitely some stadiums that are more prone to causing injuries that are on that artificial surface.
MetLife has been like injuring players for years.
It also doesn't help that University of Pittsburgh plays sometimes the day before the Pittsburgh Steelers play. Obviously, that hurts the turf surface as well. That's part of why USF is now no longer playing at Tampa Stadium beginning in 2027. Some people are saying, I forget who it was, some analyst had on a podcast said, Pitt needs to get their own stadium, and they need to stop playing at Acrisure, whatever it's called now.
Acrisure,
Still Heinz Field to me. But anyways, the college is playing at the same place. Makes it a little bit rough on the surface, obviously, if you have to try to get it ready within a 24 to 48 hour span.
I can't believe that this is a thing, but we talk about this all the time as it relates to, like, I've talked about the 49ers, right? I'm like, hey, man, you got a problem?
Sorry, no, I was trying to look it up. What playing surface does Pittsburgh have, Drew?
Grass, probably.
In the story, it says the turf needs to be resurfaced.
Not artificial turf. It's probably like...
Or resodded or whatever.
Turf isn't, resodded. So, like...
Oh, well, that's a different conversation.
But again, this isn't about the Steelers' surface. This is a general conversation of the NFL should just get rid of turf in general.
Right,
and
but I guess I
grass.
thought you were saying that the Steelers, theirs is grass.
The story is the Steelers have outrage over field conditions. That's why I'm bringing it up, and I'm saying it as a general point of
unplayable sod.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. The NFL, because of this story and complaints, just go to proper.
Let's say they have it. They just have a bad.
I know, but I thought you said needed to all go to grass, and I'm just saying Pittsburgh's already at grass.
I know, but the NFL needs to go full grass because of MetLife and the other.
But you were that's fair. But like you were using Pittsburgh as an example, and he's saying,
well, yeah, because it's a story this week.
Yeah, I guess this isn't something I would have considered a advantage. I talk about this all the time. I think teams who are consistently hurt deserve to be criticized more for an inability to either practice people in a way that doesn't get them hurt, train people in a way that doesn't get hurt, or have field conditions in a way that don't get them hurt. The Chiefs have an advantage, Gold, I think, because they got some of the best groundskeepers in the business. I don't think it's an accident that they also happen to be one of the healthier teams in the NFL sometimes. I'm sure there's a correlation between we have good field conditions, we keep our guys healthy, and that being an advantage versus other teams. That's always surprising to me.
That's a little all 32 here on Cody and Gold. Our text line is full of grass takes.
Ooh, we got a lot of grass takes? I don't care about grass at all. Is this a time I'm supposed to seed? How about that? Give me that a grass take. I
think this is the time, yeah.
Is
Isn't it? Isn't this where you're supposed to do the lawn aeration and pop the little turds in the lawn and then drop the seeds in?
I'm not going to. Can I just spread some seed and water it or what? What's the deal here?
I don't know.
I got to aerate it. I got to get the
I don't have
out.
a yard. You have a yard.
I know, and I don't care to make it perfect. Just mow it, keep it short, keep it tight, and move on with my life. I don't.
Is the yard in bad shape?
No, that's fine. It's probably a couple too many weeds, but
it's been really dry. I do know that.
Not terrible.
Have you been watering?
No.
Well, then the grass is not good.
How do you know? Oh, now you're an expert?
It's not good. It's too dry out. If you haven't been watering, there's no way your lawn's in good shape.
Watering my grass.
It's been dry.
Nature waters my grass.
And it's been dry.
Either it gets watered by nature or it doesn't get watered. The front yard's been a little more dry than the backyard. Backyard gets a lot more shade.
Okay.
It keeps some of the dew and stuff. It
See,
doesn't.
someone says, yes, aerate and overseed. It's the best time.
Okay. Aerate and overseed. Sure.
You can rent one of those aeration machine things. You and a neighbor, do you have a neighbor you like?
I have a couple neighbors I like, yeah.
See if they'll go in and you guys can share the cost of renting the machine. The same weekend, you guys can all do it. Split the cost. Boom.
I mean, I guess. I'm going to rent a machine. Can I just use a hand tool?
That will take way too long.
I have a hand tool.
Use the machine there. You can rent it at like a Lowe's or
I can
Home
buy
Depot
one for
or something.
$70. I'm renting one?
I don't know. Or buy one and get them to chip in.
I have one of these. I have a handheld one.
Well, I'm talking about the electron, like a gas-powered one or whatever.
This feels a bit intense.
Anyway, up next.
I'm just going to pay someone to
Let's talk a little fantasy football with Paul Charchian and get his thoughts on what Chiefs wide receivers are in play Sunday and tonight.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. Discover the benefit of blue.
Around here, we've got each other's backs. When it comes to health insurance, we want that same kind of support. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City gets that. They're from around here too. Backed by the national strength of the Cross and Shield, they help you make confident choices, no matter where you are. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. From here, for wherever you are. That's the benefit of blue.
Every NFL Thursday is your chance to hit the jackpot on FanDuel, because FanDuel's Thursday touchdown jackpot means that you can win a share of $2 million in bonus bets each and every week. To get in on this Thursday's action, all you have to do is place an anytime touchdown score bet before the game kicks off. And if your player scores either the first or the last touchdown in the game, then you'll win your bet plus a share of bonus bets. All you need to do is visit FanDuel.com. Use my promo code KFNZ to take a shot at the jackpot. Remember my promo code KFNZ for your chance to win a share of $2 million in bonus bets. Play your game with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. Opt in. Must apply profit boost hosting on select market. Prize pool to be split equally among all eligible participants who made the correct first or last touchdown pick. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 21 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino LLC. Gambling problem? Can help us your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
I'm McCall with Lee Summit Subaru, and it's time to make a big deal out of nothing. Announcing Lee Summit Subaru's 0% event. Up to 0% financing on select 2025 Subaru models for 72 months. And we have the largest selection of Subaru certified vehicles in Kansas City, starting as low as 1.9% for 72 months.
0% event and a lifetime warranty. Fall in love with driving again at Lee Summit Subaru.
Based on January 2025 through June 2025 Kansas City inventory listings.
Hello, Kansas City. Christopher Youngers here with Cafe Trio. The seasons, they are changing. And if you haven't seen Cafe Trio during the holidays, from Halloween, the Plaza Lights, and Christmas with all of our decorations, well, then you've missed out on one of the most seasonally spectacular dining experiences in town. Offering live music, very spirited holiday decorations, and farm-to-table fresh menus, Cafe Trio is the place to be for the holidays. 45th and Main, cafetriokc.com.
Men, if the long lines to the bathroom have been holding you back from attending sporting events and you're waking up in the middle of the night dealing with frequent urination, it could be an enlarged prostate. Jeff Montgomery here to talk about the minimally invasive procedure I had that made a big difference. I went to Dr. Brown at Miva Medical, the leader in minimally invasive treatments in Kansas City. The procedure was quick and easy, and I'm very happy with the result. Don't put up with being uncomfortable. Contact Miva Medical. That's MIVA-medical.com.
Straight Talk presents The Math of More. Here's how it works. When you say yes to more with Straight Talk, you're left with more for all the other good stuff. So getting an unlimited plan starting at just $25 a month equals more savings for your family's weekend adventures. And with a network covered by Verizon, you can share more from wherever you go. It's simple math, really. More equals more with Straight Talk. Available at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Taxes and fees apply. The $25 plan requires a compatible unlocked device and a new line of service. Additional terms apply.
Hi, I'm Chef Franklin Becker. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. There's only one FDA-approved Ozempic made by Novo Nordisk. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5, 1, and 2 milligrams.
Ready to kick off the fun? Chumba Casino is your go-to game plan during halftime or overtime. From spinning slots to instant scratch-style cards, it's like running the perfect play, all from home. New players score a free welcome bonus and daily logins with a shot at some serious prizes every time you play. Get in the game and visit ChumbaCasino.com today. Let's Chumba. Sponsored by VGW Group. No purchase necessary. See terms at ChumbaCasino.com. Must be over 21 and present in a state where it's legal to play.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. All so that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
House stealing. It's a nightmare that's real. It's the FBI's term for thieves stealing your home's title and draining your equity. Just one fake document filed with a recorder, and scammers can own your home on paper, drain your equity, and do it all without you even knowing. Imagine waking up to a foreclosure or eviction notice. Listen to former title thief Matt Cox.
What people don't realize is the ease in which this crime can happen. I can take the deed to your house and I can transfer that deed into my name. It's a great crime, and it's happening all the time.
So how can you stop the nightmare and protect yourself? Find out if you're already a victim now at HomeTitleLock.com. Use promo code RADIO and get a 30-day free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection, a title scan, and access to a title specialist, a $250 value. Don't wait. Go to HoldTitleLock.com now, promo code RADIO.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Random question of the day coming up in about 15 minutes here on Cody and Gold. Hope you guys are having a good Thursday, noon hour, lunch hour for a lot of you. Appreciate you guys listening on the Odyssey app, or of course in your car. Maybe you're watching on YouTube, not in your car, on X, Twitter.
Ideally, you guys both are watching TV in your cars.
No.
Listening to TV.
No, if I'm in my car and let's say it's during March Madness and I'm driving home and I don't have the radio call, I will Bluetooth my phone in or on CarPlay, and I will have YouTube TV up so I have the audio going through the car. That's not watching TV.
I think there's a debate to be had there.
Okay. Let's talk a little fantasy football with our guy, Paul Charchian of Guillotine Leagues and Fantasy, MatthewBerryFantasyLife.com. He is brought to you by Twin Peaks, Eat, Drink, Scenic Views. I guess we'll start there. Do you do what I do occasionally? Do you know what I'm talking about in the car?
I've got this hacker device for my truck that it's basically, if you think of it, it's an Android box, not a phone. It's an Android box that plugs into a USB port in my truck. and it can replace the whole screen with Android. So I can run anything that runs on Android on the screen of my truck, including YouTube TV.
That's insane.
Yes, it's awesome is what it is. And I'm not going to elaborate on that more, but needless to say, I only ever use it when the car is in park. I would never have a football game on while I was
Out of curiosity, I noticed the segment's not brought to you by an insurance company or anything. Would they? Just saying. Yeah.
Brought to you by Allstate.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you can do that stuff, and I am totally for listening to the audio of the football game while you're driving around. I think that's great. Why not do that? You get to enjoy both. Keep your eyes on the road, and
that's right.
My argument. We got into this because Drew was watching the Ryder Cup the second he walked in. He said, "Well, I had it on in my car," and I said, "I know what happens here. You're telling me you don't watch it. You're saying you don't watch it that way, and the second you hear, 'Oh, what a catch!' you pull up your phone. I know you pick up your phone, and you're lying to me if you say otherwise."
Yes, that could be the case. But okay, when we're just driving around, take this out of it, right? That you're watching a game, we still look around. We still get distracted by stuff. We still have our phone that demands a certain amount of attention or whatever. I think it's safe to periodically glance at some big play when the crowd goes wild. I think that's okay.
Let's start on the football field and a little bit of fantasy football. I think there's two huge running back questions, and I'm curious. One is going to be about what they're doing in Washington and the every other nature of him. But the other is obviously Rico Dowdle, who by every normal person's standard would just say, that's the starter. He has 400 yards for you the last two games. Just keep him in. But I didn't like the way Dave Canales was talking about it. With Chuba, do you think he's going to really eat into Rico Dowdle's time? Or are they just playing the game a little bit? What do we do about those two guys?
They got to keep using Dowdle. At least some. I mean, I appreciate the deference that most coaches have to their veterans, and the Chuba Hubbard's been there from the beginning. They just signed him to a long extension at the end of last year, right? They have a big financial obligation to Chuba that they do not have with Rico Dowdle. Hubbard's got this calf injury. He's missed 2 games, expected to be available for this one. The problem is, what you mentioned, Rico Dowdle just put up 473 total yards in 2 weeks. That is more than Saquon Barkley has all year as one benchmark. It's crazy. Hard to express how unlikely this turn of events is for Rico Dowdle. He is a 5th-year perpetual backup at running back. Those guys never break out in year 5. And right before he started this 2-week run, in the days before it, I looked up his metrics as a backup in Carolina. They were horrible. All the stuff that nerdy guys like me care about, yards after contact and broken tackle rate, just terrible for Rico Dowdle. And it's not like he dropped into the Buffalo offense. He dropped into the Carolina offense and has just gone completely berserk. So this whole thing seems very unlikely. I still think Hubbard gets some work here, but if I'm going to start one, I'm staying with Dowdle. If they're going to go hot hand, it's way more likely that's going to stay to Rico Dowdle, who emerges as the hot hand, than Chuba Hubbard, who's trying to rush back from a calf injury because his playing time is evaporating.
Do you like him against the Jets, though? I actually think the Jets might get their first one of the season and can slow down the rushing attack.
I have middling grades on both of them. The way you attack the Jets is on the ground because the pass defense remains pretty darn good. Sauce Gardner's still very good. So teams are running a lot on the Jets, and Carolina's had so much success with their running game that I just think through sheer volume, there will be some success, particularly for Dowdle, and then Chuba Hubbard as a wild card flex level guy.
What about the Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt thing? He's great. We start him. He stinks. He's great. We start him. He stinks. Like, those are frustrating fantasy players other than you have to accept the ebb and the flow with it. What are you matchup starting him? Are you starting him every week? How are you going to do it with him going forward?
Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt is legitimately good. He's got some special traits, especially his footwork, and I'm going to take my chances on him. That is a good, if not awesome, but that is a good offense. And for the most part, he's played well. Now, there was this really costly fumble at the end of last week's game, but to me, that was not on Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt.
Right.
That was a high handoff just under his chin where you're not expecting to get the ball. So for me, that wasn't on Merritt. It's hard to find starting running backs in the NFL. He's getting the vast majority of the work now. Chris Rodriguez has been phased out, and I think you can continue to start Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt most of the time, including including this coming week as they face Dallas. Game on, baby, for Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt.
Let's stick with the running back theme. We've gotten multiple texts on this. The Patriots backfield. We know Gibson's done for the year. Henderson's the stud rookie, but not getting as much playing time by now as people would have thought. We know Stevenson's effective, but he fumbles once a game, it seems like. So what's going on there?
All right, so Titans coming up. So, that takes a new perspective here because we want to start our Patriots. And this is another guy. Stevenson's another guy where you're, like, every time you don't start him is when he has the good game, and then you do start him, and then he fumbles and gets benched or whatever. But this feels like all systems go against Tennessee, a demoralized team, new head coach, and the Patriots still want to run the ball. Mike Vrabel he's consistently giving his guys, especially Stevenson, a lot of run. Travion Henderson and Stevenson, by the way, has played pretty well. Their run blocking, awful. The Patriots' offensive line is still very much a work in process. And if I had Drake May as my quarterback, knowing that how bad their blocking is, run and pass blocking, this whole next draft would be all offensive line. They put a first rounder in their offensive line last draft. I just keep pounding that. But this week against Tennessee, just a fantastic opportunity. I know Stevenson and Henderson's never done anything. Stevenson, it's hard to pick your spots, but this is one of them against Tennessee. I've got Stevenson at running back 19. Henderson is running back 28 this week.
Before we get to Thursday Night Football, which obviously people are going to be paying attention to tonight, let's talk a little bit about the Chiefs matchup this weekend.
Yeah.
So I guess between these guys, Brock Bowers hasn't been playing. Somebody's already asked if they should drop him. I think that's crazy.
No.
But obviously there's an issue with Brock Bowers as far as your fantasy stuff goes. But also like Trey Tucker and Jacoby Myers. Should you be interested in Jacoby Myers knowing he might end up on a different team? Does that also make Trey Tucker more valuable because of the additional snaps? Brock Bowers, how do you handle this Raiders situation? Because they've got some viable fantasy players, but it all depends on what happens in the trade market.
Yeah, the trade market's really fascinating. I know you guys have been talking a lot about running backs you can target. The receiver market's going to heat up here because there are a bunch of teams that are in business that think they can make the playoffs and need receivers. One of them's tonight, Steelers. Giants, Patriots, and Buffalo is a really interesting landing spot because Buffalo's not getting a lot of the consistent production they had hoped for from Keon Coleman on the outside. It hasn't really developed yet. And so that might be a scenario. Jacoby Myers is the guy that's popped up this week because he's healthy and not practicing, which is usually a sign of imminent departure. And Jacoby Myers is good. He is a high effort, catch everything near him guy. Great after the catch. Love Jacoby Myers. He's been languishing in Las Vegas where nobody ever sees any of his games. And he could get traded now. His value goes up for wherever team he goes to. And then Vegas wide receiver Trey Tucker returns into the clear number one. It's kind of, you could bet on this with your fantasy rosters by either acquiring Jacoby Myers, hoping he lands at a better spot, or acquiring Trey Tucker, knowing that he could end up being the number one receiver.
We're talking to Paul Charchian here, getting some thoughts on fantasy football week 7. Rashee Rice back for Kansas City. I know we've talked with you about just the weird scheduling quirk where if you've been waiting on Rice, you get him for a few weeks and then they're on a bye. Right. Is he a start though on Sunday for you?
I think he's startable right away. You guys, tell me if you think it's any different, but he gets the extra 6.5 weeks to get really right off the knee injury. Then it probably would have been fine anyway. But remember, last year, weeks 1 through 3, he was the highest-scoring receiver in fantasy football. I want that guy on my roster. Raiders secondary, middle of the pack at best. And, for me, Rice goes to starter level right away. Also, I'm keeping Xavier Worthy. Now, the tertiary guys like Hollywood Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster, to me, are
desperation starts in my opinion.
Right. They're right. I think you consider dropping those guys.
Bye-week flex guys.
Exactly. Now, here's the really fascinating part. Last year, weeks 1, 2, and 3 with Rice Helcy, here's what Travis Kelce gave you. No touchdowns, a 34-yard game, a 0-yard game, and a 30-yard game. You tell me, Cody and Alex, is that a coincidence that Travis Kelce posted 3 brutal box scores with a healthy Rashee Rice last year?
Last year, we said it wasn't because he was running some of Travis Kelce's previous routes. But I also think we've tried to write off Travis Kelce as a fantasy viable player. He's been a top 5 fantasy tight end this year. And so I would say he's still very playable. And he's going to be, you'd like, in my opinion, in fantasy charge, you like having him better than about 20 to 25 different fantasy tight ends. So, he's still going to be my starter if he's on my roster.
All right, then let me pose it this way. How about trading high on Travis Kelce right now? He's coming off a 61-yard game, a 78-yard game, high utilization for him. Is this the time to sell him? If you think he's still going to be viable, but maybe not at the same level that he was, should I trade Travis Kelce right now?
Oh, fantasy football-wise, absolutely.
Yeah,
I think it's in play. Yeah, somebody just tuned into the show. I didn't want them to drive off the side of the road.
Right.
But yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
They're probably watching a game anyway.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think for fantasy football team, if you have him, and even if you're in a dynasty league, I think because this might be it. Yeah, absolutely. You should start shopping them around and see what you can get if you have a deficiency somewhere else.
Yeah, I think so too. I think this is time. And I like you. I don't think Travis Kelce is going to be offer no helpful fantasy games the rest of the way. But for a guy who had already been kind of inconsistent with his fantasy output, I think that only goes up with Rashee Rice, who's so good middle of the field catches, where Kelce usually harvests a lot of his production. So, yeah, I think the time to get out on Kelce is right now.
Charge, I will say, I think it's I think I'll use the poker analogy. I think the most difficult thing in fantasy football is when you spend a high round pick on a guy and you don't have the guts to bench him when it's time to bench him. I think it is time to bench Chase Brown. Do you think he should be in a starting lineup tonight?
It's been a disastrous year. And I was high on Chase Brown going into the season.
Same.
I didn't know how
I was
bad
way
the
off on
offensive
that,
line would be. I didn't know Joe Burrow was going to get knocked out. So in the second half of last year, Cincinnati running back Chase Brown, who we'll see tonight, was the second highest scoring running back. I mean, he was awesome in the second half of last year, rolled into this year, and he's now running back 37, and he has 1 touchdown on the season. The offensive line is a big part of it, but also game script. Get this, the Bengals have run 27 plays while ahead on the scoreboard this year. That's nothing. The game script is always tilted against Chase Brown.
Yep.
And I don't think it changes tonight. Steelers are seeing the 10th fewest rushing yards. Pittsburgh has shut down the last 3 lead backs they've faced, and they're all pretty good. They average just 37 yards. So I hate to say it, it's an uphill battle for Chase Brown tonight. Probably needs a carry from inside the 3 to have a lot of fantasy relevance here.
Charge, appreciate it, man. Good luck this week. We'll check in next Thursday.
Sounds great. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Paul Charchian with us here on Cody and Gold, brought to you by Twin Peaks Eats, Drinks, Scenic Views. Here in about 15 minutes, we'll get back into the Chiefs, looking ahead to the Raiders game. Josh Klingler will be on the sideline as the Chiefs take on Vegas. Noon kickoff here at 96.5 The Fan, so we'll check in with Kling at 1 o'clock. But it is that time of the show where we get to...
Random question.
Of course, the random question of the day brought to you by Kansas City Urology Care at KCUC. Remember, you see the best in KC. Visit kcurology.com today. For you, Gold, not as much for you today, Drew. Admittedly, the question doesn't apply to him as much.
Okay.
It does me, you, and a large majority of our listeners.
What if I don't want it to apply to me only?
Well, not just you only. Just Drew's too young for my question.
Oh.
So over on the text
He's
line,
not that
913-586-7965. You'll understand here in just a minute. So hit us up there, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and Facebook. We live stream the show 4 hours every day. You can chat over there. We keep ourselves entertained over on those ends as well, plus good communal meeting space. The question I have for you today is actually thanks to Kyle Brandt, in a way. He was talking about the matchup tonight, the Icy Hot Bowl, or whatever everyone else is calling it. 2 olds, as it were, you know? By the way, I'm older, I think, I'm not older than Aaron Rodgers. I am older than Joe Flacco.
Yeah, Flacco turns 41 in January. I think Rodgers turns 42 in December.
And he asked a simple question that I don't think Drew can answer yet, but you're far enough into this decade that you can. And his simple question is, if you got to relive a decade, which of the decades would you prefer to relive? Would you rather get another shot in your 20s or start back over, in your case, Gold, in your 30s? In my case, I'd get the entire decade back. So I'd like that answer over 913-586-7965.
That's a
You like the
solid
20s? So here's the problem. I think my answer is the 30s for a variety of reasons. One, I got my kids and that other stuff. I make no money in my 20s. So let's be honest. That was a struggle time. Now, I did like being in my 20s. My body hurt less.
Yeah.
General fun, a lot of freedom in the time and the way that I spent it. But I was working full time. I was in school full time. The 20s were not... I didn't have party, happy time like some people did in their 20s. My 30s have been a more enjoyable decade.
Yeah, so kind of, it's oddly enough, kind of along the same lines. I mean, financially in certain things are a hell of a lot better now than they were in my 20s. I definitely had some good experiences in my 20s and lived in different cities and things like that I don't regret. I think they were just good for...
I bet dating in your 20s is easier.
For sure, yeah.
That would be appealing, I imagine, for you?
There were definitely some things I enjoyed. I think I would probably still say my 30s. Although in my 20s I could smell. Thank you very much.
Yeah, wasn't that appealing?
Yeah.
You could smell? Date easier?
I can't smell anymore, as you guys know. They listen to the show. Thank you, COVID.
Still got to get smelling salts on this show.
Bring them in. Won't do a thing for me. I'll answer 30s because I do think a lot of it, like just lifestyle and job and everything is way better in my 30s than what it was in my 20s, moving around and stuff.
A lot of different reasons over in the text line. Someone just says, 20s, I got so much. You can fill in that blank. Says, now I only have a wife for eternity. That's a little different. They want their 20s back for that
That's just
reason.
disrespectful. That's just disrespectful, man.
Drew, how about you? You think you're like your 30s better than your 20s? You turned 30 in like a week, dude.
Yeah, next Tuesday.
Less than a week. I was
So if I had
underestimating
to,
it.
I don't know if I wouldn't redo anything, but if I had to relive them, I guess I would probably relive like the 10s to the 20s.
Somebody asked
the
a good
10s
question.
to the 20s.
Yeah.
That's a
You
terrible
want to relive
decade.
when you were 13?
Puberty?
When you were
Get that the hell out of here.
13 and deal with acne and all that crap? No.
The worst time in everyone's life, throw that into an ocean.
wanna
That
live-
decade will never be my answer.
I want to live when I had no job, everything was paid for, I could have summer vacation, I played organized sports, didn't have to worry about anything.
You play organized sports now. You don't get summer vacation. I can't do anything for you. You can become a teacher, and I guess you could.
I would
Someone
relive
says-
those times because they're a lot of fun times.
So
particularly
in-
like the high school stuff, obviously.
In
Getting
my
into college, yeah.
In my hypothetical, this isn't like a Biff situation. You can't just like sports bet everything you know the results of. But to drop Chuck's question on YouTube, do I get to live it the same way, or can I take a mulligan? I will allow you the mulligan, as in you can live your 20s,
Oh,
but
I thought this was relive.
you can but you can live them
Like
different.
redo.
Yeah, you could say, you know what, I want to treat my life different in my 20s. Like, for instance, I probably would have gone to school sooner than I did. I went back to school when I was like 24 years old or 25 years old. I would have probably gone to school I guess if I'm reliving my 20s, at 20, I would have been in school instead of the way I had handled it at that time. But also, I don't regret a lot of that stuff because I still ended up where I was. I just think the 30s have been a more enjoyable decade for me.
Yeah,
I've gotten more out of those years than I got more out of those years than I did my years in my 20s.
Yeah, I totally get that. I would still say experiences I had in my 20s, I think, you not only regret, like you learn from those, and to me, not to go all like, I think some things happen for a reason and you end up in certain spots because of other experiences, and certain things happen that better prepare you for other things and all that stuff. So that's why I would still say in general, the 30s have been better, but that doesn't mean that, mean that I would.
Drew, do you think, because I could ask my same question about the 40s, do you think you will enjoy the 30s more than the 20s? That was what you didn't answer. You've lived your whole 20s. You're getting ready to face the years in your 30s starting next Tuesday. Do you think you will enjoy this decade more than you enjoyed the 20s?
I don't know about more. I think I'll enjoy it as much as I did.
This goes back to the theory of the last 6 months.
I think Drew's really, I think he's struggling with turning 30. This is why this question's even better. I think it's on his mind. I think it is deeply impacting your decision making.
I think I'll enjoy it as much as I have my 20s. I'm healthy.
How much did you enjoy your 20s?
My 20s
like, if you
were great.
look back on it, great? Man,
Yeah.
I wouldn't even. There's no decade in my life that I'm like, great, nailed it, no problems.
No, I don't.
Not my 10s, not my 20s, not my 30s.
Yeah, like, so this is the thing is that we can say like, oh, I'd rather go back and I would redo my 20s because of this. You're gonna have other problems that come up that were different than the ones you had before. Like, you're not avoiding problems. So like, I wouldn't. I think it'll be great. I think it'll be just as good as the 20s.
I think some of this
maybe just
depends
as good as the 10s to the 20s too. I
10s again. I don't want to go back to being 12.
Yeah, but no, hang on a second. So you're eliminating the 18. But you're eliminating the carefreeness,
of just being 18. But Drew,
the carefreeness, the recklessness, the all of it, the no responsibilities of the 16 to 20
What you're
aspect
describing,
of that part.
What you're describing is your experience and not mine.
Well, in fairness, you asked him about his experience.
I understand.
That's the
what
only
I'm
one we
saying
can
is,
go off of.
but he's making it sound like I'm eliminating that. My 16 to 20 was not carefree. I worked 40 hours a week that entire time while going to school. Like, it wasn't a carefree time.
For sure, but again, you asked him about
life.
his. Yeah.
No, I understand, but I'm just saying for like most, I don't know, not most, but for some people, that's not a carefree time necessarily, but also it comes with other challenges I don't want to figure out. Like, that's just a like, especially like the puberty part. Like, middle school might be the worst part of anyone's life.
I mean, yeah, like there's that part, but I think like
part of life.
Whether it's like the AAU basketball, it's the
I just think you can still do those things.
Again, it's hanging
if you
out
want to play
like,
organized
like
basketball, you can do that today.
No,
you can sign up for a league. You can go play basketball, and you can do it on your time with your friends, with people you like. I like that. I can still do those things just on my own space.
Yeah, I just think that there's like I understand that part of it, but also like being able to do it with those people was a lot of fun, and I think that'd be a lot of fun to go back and redo.
Text lines all over the place. They said they're halfway through their 40s. It's been their best decade. Someone says their 30s are their best. Currently in my 50s. Claims he has a smoking hot wife.
Good for you.
And he's saying he still liked his 30s better.
Good for you.
So, but sounds like the 50s aren't treating him too bad. So, you know.
Someone says, been listening to your guys' show for 4 years. First time I've ever agreed with Drew. Now, Drew hasn't been on the show for 4 years, but hey, there you go. There you go.
Thank you.
Someone says Gold is smart to say this is his best decade in case the future Mrs. Gold is listening.
Say, there's a lot of, I will say that there's over on Twitch, Jake, over on the text line, on YouTube, on all the chats that we follow, there's at least one person being like, I want to go back and relive my 20s, and I'm avoiding the divorce or that woman.
Sure.
I think if you got married and divorced in your 20s, everyone's like, give me the 20s back. I'm fixing this. Like, everyone wants those back if that's what took place.
Someone, last one said, Cody says he works 16 to 20 full time. You sold super ropes at concession stands for cash under the table while messing with gum buckets.
At first, it was
that's what the
This is why you don't want the 10s to 20s then. I understand now.
This is full-time work. This was 40 hours a week.
This is when his gum bucket incident took place.
I worked a full-time job. I did my own laundry. I had every adult responsibility other than paying rent.
Someone said if Gold and Cody were high school athletes, they'd be with Drew. Like I don't know what Drew's let's not act like Drew was an All-American or Division I athlete from all state going to a D1 school athlete. I'm sure you played high school sports. Good. Let's not act like
I got offers from D2.
Okay, good for you.
But that was all.
For golf?
For golf, and then basketball the interest was there, and then I got. Yeah, it was a rough period with basketball I fell out of love with basketball for a little bit, but we're back. So, I'm very happy for that.
That's fine. But I think it just depends, and I don't know, if you're not going to be an NFL player, just like living the time in which you were your best athlete. I probably was my best athlete in my teens, early 20s, most people. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
I don't think that I didn't play organized sports, but I did nothing but play sports.
Yeah, you were more
without pain.
Regardless
I'm
of whether
enjoy that too.
Yeah, regardless of whether you played them or not, you were in better condition.
Oh, sure,
period. Being in that stage of things. So yeah, but
I wasn't taking stuff out of the dryer and hurting my back. That wasn't happening.
Yeah, I wouldn't go back and redo
the superbone foot problems.
Yeah,
I'd like to play sports without those problems too.
Yeah, I'm not going back to redo anything. I'm reliving it.
There you go. Up next, Josh Klingler going to join us. I'm sure we'll have some thoughts on this conversation. Kling will talk about that and football in particular.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for K-State Athletics. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Nationwide is so much more than a great insurance company. They're one of America's largest financial services companies. Like how I'm more than just Peyton Manning. I'm also motivating Manning, and you too can be so much more.
Nationwide Investment Services Corporation, member FINRA, Columbus, Ohio.
Around here, we've got each other's backs. When it comes to health insurance, we want that same kind of support. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City gets that. They're from around here too. Backed by the national strength of the Cross and Shield, they help you make confident choices, no matter where you are. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. From here, for wherever you are. That's the benefit of Blue.
Kansas City, it's time to turn up the heat. The Westport Sunfresh is back and better than ever. Now proudly part of the Cosentino Food Stores family. We're celebrating with a re-grand opening you won't want to miss. That means 3 full weeks of hot savings on the freshest produce, premium meats, and all your grocery favorites. Come experience the new and improved Westport Sunfresh, your neighborhood store, now with even more local love. Located in the heart of Westport, only at Cosentino's Westport Sunfresh.
Looking to drive your finances downfield? Main Street Credit Union is the hometown team you can trust. We help you build credit, lower monthly expenses, and finance with confidence. Or if you need a loan to grow your small business, we've got flexible options and no hidden fees. At Main Street, it's not just about the win, it's about keeping Kansas City moving forward. One goal, 1 yard, 1 member at a time. Get in the game at mainstreetcu.org.
Man, if your stream isn't as strong as it used to be, or you're taking more breaks to the bathroom than the last 2 minutes of a televised football game,
there's another timeout. We'll be back after this.
it's time to get checked. An enlarged prostate, or BPH, could be the cause. And Kansas City Urology Care is here to help. Fast answers, trusted care. Don't wait. Come see Kansas City's largest, most experienced, and most advanced urology team. Visit kcuc.com today. At KCUC, you see the best in KC.
Need to sell your house in Kansas City but not sure where to start? Selling a home can feel overwhelming, especially if you're facing foreclosure, a divorce, an inherited property you don't want, or just need to move quickly. But you don't have to figure it out alone. Rex Buys KC is here to help. As a local home buyer, I understand the Kansas City market inside and out. My family and I live right here, so I know the neighborhoods, the trends, and the challenges homeowners face. That's why I take a consultative approach, helping you explore your options and find the best path forward. We buy houses in any condition, no need for repairs, no agent commissions, and no hidden fees. You'll receive a fair cash offer with a closing timeline that works for you. Whether that's in as little as 7 days or at your own pace, just a simple, hassle-free process designed around your needs. If you're ready to talk through your options, call me today at 816-330-6000 or visit rexbuyskc.com. Let's find the right solution for you. Rex Buys KC. Local, fair, and focused on you.
I don't sell lab-grown diamonds because they represent everything that can be bad about the jewelry industry and are the opposite of why my family is in it. This is Gene at House of Diamonds. I opened my diamond and custom jewelry shop to build relationships of trust with my customers. Prior to opening House of Diamonds, I worked at other jewelry stores and saw how that trust can be betrayed. And now, I'm seeing it again with those who are selling lab-grown diamonds for thousands, nearly all of it profit, knowing that they are worth nothing the second they leave the store. So if you ever want to sell that lab diamond or want to trade up, you have literally nothing to sell or trade. That will never happen at House of Diamonds. We guarantee a trade-in value of 100% of the price you paid us for your hand-selected natural diamond. Don't become a lab-grown diamond victim. Learn more at mybigrock.com and then come see me at House of Diamonds on the southeast corner of College and Quivira.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturer
of College and Quivira
is a top priority. That's why he chooses Grainger. Because when a drive belt gets damaged, Grainger makes it easy to find the exact specs for the replacement product he needs. And next day delivery helps ensure he'll have everything in place and running like clockwork. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Honey, that flu keeping you up? Did you take NyQuil Intense Flu?
Nah, I got this. Okay, I don't got this.
Yeah, you need NyQuil Intense Flu.
Undo your flu with NyQuil Intense Flu. NyQuil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms so you can sleep.
You do got this.
NyQuil Intense Flu. The nighttime sniffling, aching fever. Best sleep with the flu medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Ready to kick off the fun? Chumba Casino is your go-to game plan. During halftime or overtime. From spinning slots to instant scratch-style cards. It's like running the perfect play. All from home. New players score a free welcome bonus and daily logins. With a shot at some serious prizes every time you play. Get in the game and visit ChumbaCasino.com today. Let's Chumba. Sponsored by VG VGW Group. No purchase necessary. See terms at ChumbaCasino.com. Must be over 21 and present in a state where it's legal to play.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. All so that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. Discover the benefit of blue.
Listen to the Chiefs and Raiders on Sunday with pregame starting at 9. Kickoff at noon with Mitch, Danon, and Kling. Right here on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan. KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2. Kansas City. An Odyssey sports station.
1 o'clock hour. You know, every once in a while, the weeks, the days blend together. I just really wanted to talk to Kling again. We had Kling on yesterday, so
Kling's not coming on.
He's not. What do you mean he's not coming on? He did answer my question, though, that I wanted to ask him. He said, whatever decade I can remember, bleep. That's the decade that he would answer. But no, Kling will join us next Wednesday. You guys, I've been teasing that for the last hour and a half.
Did you say it any other time?
Yes.
Wait, really? I
because what happened was, I've teased it twice.
I don't remember the other tease.
On the rundown earlier today, on the rundown, so we'll peel back the curtain. We color code a few things. Light blue is guessed, okay? Yeah. Yellow is sound or what we call benchmark.
And charts used to be at 1, so sometimes I put charts in the wrong spot.
So there was blue at 1 and blue at 12:30, which in my mind was, Kling is our only 1 o'clock guest we ever have. Anyway, so, yeah, there you go. Kling's not joining us right now, it turns out. That's yesterday.
Yes.
Hope you guys are having a good day.
You know, I'm doing fine.
913-586.
Professor Tapp is joining us, I guess, here in
I guess maybe I was trying to avoid going to class today, and so I wanted Kling to prevent us from going to class.
Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
From the 913, dude, I'm so over Cody saying he is or was an athlete. To be clear, I don't think I've ever said that. I also said I was more athletic when I was 18 than I am now, which I just think is statistically accurate.
Yeah.
And that I played sports casually, which is also true.
Yeah, we'll get to Cody's lesson, Professor Tapp, here in about 10 minutes or so. But in the meantime, let's talk about more fallout from Sunday Night Football. And not the radio host again talking about the taunting penalties, but Dan Campbell, head coach of the Lions, was asked yesterday, I think it was, about how the refs handled the situation with the trick play touchdown that wasn't.
Yeah.
And he said he was told that the penalty call that, of course, wiped out the Goff touchdown reception came from New York. Well, after the game, in the pool report, Craig Rolstad, the official, said it did not. He said the opposite. And so that has prompted like, whoa, wait. So you lied or somebody's mistaken.
Someone's wrong.
Or if it did come from New York, yes, they can review touchdown plays, but they're not supposed to or allowed to call a penalty on a review play. You can't add a penalty to a review play like that. And so, look, if that happened, it is a problem. But, of course, it has just fueled the flames of, well, see, it's all rigged for Kansas City. And that has become an even bigger conversation. And I don't know, Mike Florio was putting out a story about this. If that's what happened in terms of the officials heard from New York and said, hey, you guys missed this, that is a problem because that can't happen. But I just hate that if this happened for any other team, any other game, people would not have an issue with it being, a conspiracy. But because of the Chiefs, of course, it means that the league is trying to make sure the Chiefs get a call. Remember, the Chiefs won the game 30-17.
I think the NFL needs to make a statement on this. The Chiefs already, and partially because of what is happening with one of their premier franchises. Let's just be honest. The Chiefs are one of the biggest brands in football right now. They got the best quarterback in the league. And now one of the other better teams in the league is claiming they're being told something that a referee is either lying about in a pool report, which they shouldn't tolerate for what it's worth. If New York did have some say in this, they should admit it and move on. The NFL should talk about this. Now, the NFL admittedly does what a lot of people do in this situation, which is just shut up and hope it goes away, and something else will happen in the league this week, and then people will just forget. Because you're right. Craig Rolstad said it did not come from outside of New York, And Dan Campbell is saying that his interpretation of the explanation is that they did use New York. Now, I'll say there could be just a miscommunication in this.
Possible.
But somebody is wrong here. It did not come from New York, or it did. It's not Schrodinger's cat. Something had to happen here.
And someone highlighted there was a sequence on video where Goff is clearly talking to Craig Rolstad, and it looks like we don't have audio of it. But it looks like Goff is like pointing up, as in, did that come from upstairs? As in the same sequence, and the referee nods his head. Now, that's a very not an official determination, but the conversation would make sense that Goff would ask, where did that come from? Was that up? And the ref nods his head. But that's a little bit of speculation. It's something that needs to be looked into. I just hate that now it's caused people to say, oh, here's proof. I mean, freaking, what's his name? Craig Carton out here said it's bigger. It's a bigger scandal than Spygate and Deflategate. Give me a break. Not everybody's trying to do schemes to defraud people, okay?
Someone is. Or did. Here's the thing. And I think Matt Verderam, who's come on the show regularly, put it a really good way, which is the issue is that sometimes when it comes to like our job, even television or radio, people decide rather than to have a reasonable conversation in which we talk about these things and even sometimes express strong opinions that maybe be outside the norms, which is okay. You're allowed to express a strong opinion, have a big opinion, all those things. But instead what it is this disingenuous attempt to get attention. To call this bigger than Spygate, where a team on their own intentionally taped the practices of other teams in order to gain a competitive advantage, versus in this case, it would be the league making these decisions, not that the league and the Chiefs are in cahoots in order to do these things, that the referees union was instead deciding to let their stuff go in order to have New York play a factor in this. It is not the biggest, he literally called it the biggest NFL scandal in 25 years. I don't want to go through the NFL scandals over the last 25 years. There's a lot. I mean, just so many. One call in a game, and this is the part that gets me. The call was correct.
It was.
It is a penalty.
It was.
And the game play from that point on was very one-sided for one team versus the other. And so now we're pretending like the rest of the game wasn't played and that the Lions couldn't overcome that call or win the game in spite of it. It was in the first quarter on the first drive.
Yeah, of course it was.
What a wild time to call to like flip the script in the NFL and get it all for the Chiefs. Do it later.
There's not some conspiracy. I will say, though, a few people have texted in 913-586-7965. A few people have said, but they can review scoring plays. Yeah, absolutely. But in the rule, you can review scoring plays. Did he cross the goal line? Was it a catch, et cetera? You can't do reviews and then add a penalty. That's where the question is right now, is what really happened in that sequence. That's the debate. Nobody's saying that the play isn't reviewed. Of course, it's a scoring play. But you can't say, oh, there was actually a holding call on the left tackle on the play. We're bringing back the run because we were reviewing if he fumbled the ball across the goal line.
Or is there some gray area where New York was like, hey, are you sure he's allowed to move on that play? And you're like, ooh, hey, guys, let's get together. Let's talk. Is he allowed to move on that play?
Yeah.
No, according to the rule. Like, is there some gray area where the referee's not lying, but he's obviously deceiving in the moment when he tells them in the pool report that it didn't come from New York?
Though.
But that's it. They got the call right, and all this other stuff could have been there. I mean, it's just so hard to know whether or not. Like, in the end, what you're arguing is the illegal play that the Detroit Lions ran should count.
That's what they want. That's what they want.
Yeah. That's it? This is the thing that you're going to hang your hat on? Like, I mean, it's just, like, at what point are we making
Final
this a
score
giant
was
thing?
30-17. Final score was 30-17.
Yeah, I mean, it was very, you can have the 4 points. Hell, you want 14. I'll give you a 10 for the missed call. Our bad, Like, no, it's not that. But the Chiefs will just go down and score in the final drive when they're holding on to the ball.
Yeah, let's go ahead. Retroactively add the touchdown to a play that we all know was illegal. What are we talking about?
I'll give you 10 points. Still doesn't matter. Chiefs won. It's just, if this goes back to, like, can you at least do the logical thing? If the league was going to rig a game for the Chiefs, I'll just tell you right now, man, they're not rigging calls in the first quarter. That's a stupid time to rig a game.
Well, the Chiefs wouldn't be.
That's probably when they would, actually, because nobody thinks of it.
The Chiefs wouldn't be 3-3, though, Drew. You know what I mean? Like, the league would not have allowed the Chiefs to start 3-3. If it's all set up to prop up the big city Kansas City Chiefs. You know, they would not be 3-3.
This is where you get into like the other people who are like, they wanted them to start 3-3. So then when it looked a little bit more realistic.
And again, this is
they liked my theory. Let's have them go 3-3. Then they'll go 5-5, and then they're just going to win the rest of the games, and they'll turn things around.
And that point right there is where we said earlier, whether it's sports or not sports, if people have a theory, no longer is any common sense allowed. It is now, no, I believe it, so there's no way anybody, you presented me actual facts on anything in life, can't be true because I think it's not true. So you can't tell me otherwise, and I'm going to argue and shout it, and I'm just going to keep pushing the same conspiracy theory, and common sense doesn't prevail in this world anymore.
I can't prove to you with hard evidence that the league is not rigged, other than there's no evidence that it is rigged, and then you get into this. And this goes back to the Chiefs thing. Somebody was pointing out hard statistical data of which teams benefit the most from penalties called on the field. This year, the Chiefs are 18th as a quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, as the beneficiary of calls working against them. They've also been one of the most penalized teams in the NFL over the last 3 years. But when you give hard data, the argument they want on the other side is it's not about the calls that have been called that we know and have data on. It is about the calls that aren't called that you can't prove. And you're like, well, that's a straw man argument. Yeah, you're right. I can't prove that the Chiefs have been the beneficiary of non-calls more than any team in the league, mostly because nobody tracks that. It doesn't exist. I don't have any data to support that. All I can support is the calls that are made. And the calls that are made, the Chiefs are not the team that benefits the most. This year, Patrick Mahomes is the 18th most benefited quarterback from calls based on EPA, as in efficiency per play. Josh Allen's 1. That's all I got for you. Do I think Josh Allen gets a disproportionately high number of calls? Nah, seems about the same as anyone else. You want me to tell you the truth? I don't see it as being like a huge difference. I don't think he's like, wow, look at Josh Allen getting it. It all seems about the same. They miss calls, they don't miss calls. We want the human element, and then we get mad when the human element exists.
Oh, and officiating is poor plenty of times.
Oh, yeah,
officiating is poor plenty.
I'm not arguing that.
The thing is, like tonight, there will be a call that's terrible, but nobody's going to freak out because it's not Kansas City benefiting. That honestly is the reality of where we're at in the NFL. We all know it's been this way for a couple years. Tonight, I don't know, it'll be a call that goes against Drew's Joe Flacco in Cincinnati, and it'll favor Pittsburgh. And nobody's going to say, the league wants Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers to win. But if the exact same thing happened Sunday against the Raiders, and Geno Smith was roughed and they missed the roughing the passer call, they're going to say, see, they're out to help the Chiefs, even though they might miss the exact same roughing the passer call in a Chargers Colts game that same day. That's just where we're at, man.
There's a lot of missed calls in sports. They're humans watching people
run 22 miles an hour. It's not the number of calls. It's the timing of the call, Cody.
That was the first quarter.
That's what they say.
What's the timing of that call?
That's what they say.
It was the first quarter on the first drive because it was a touchdown?
That's what they say, man.
But when it wasn't a touchdown, when it was like the end of the game, right? It was the opposite. It was Cincinnati when they got called for pass interference. Then it matters because it's the timing, because it's the fourth quarter. It's only just timing. But timing is just something you just decide. It's always an important non-caller call because it either extends a drive or doesn't extend a drive. Every time they matter.
As we said last year, CDS, Chiefs derangement syndrome, is back. And the only cure we found out was the Chiefs losing 2 in a row and being bad in the first 2 weeks. And now it's back since they're a threat for everybody in the league.
The only part I'll say about the rigged thing is that there's still a negative on your end, as in they don't like you. They don't even like your team. Or if we're bribing the refs, you guys poor? You broke? What's your problem? Don't have enough cash? Can't pony up? You should get an owner with more dough. Cincinnati's owner should sell more of their franchise so they can pony up. Get the refs on their side. Because if it's rigged, you guys are terrible at rigging it in your favor, too, I'll point out. Like, why did they didn't randomly select the Chiefs? There's got to be money at it.
Yeah, what took you so long, Clark? What took you so long, Clark? Why were we doing this in 2010?
The hell, we all wasted the 90s waiting for you to rig the damn league for yourself. You should have gotten to that stuff sooner.
Yeah, I'm glad he finally decided to do it,
Open up the checkbook. Paid those refs.
It's almost like the Chiefs don't have to anymore because they have Taylor Swift now. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Clark can save his own money.
Oh, she gets to pay now instead?
That's what you just did.
She's just a part of the franchise now.
Yeah, like what you just did is why it's so infuriating, because you can, again, make a point and then they just move on to the next. Well, okay, you can, like, I have no more argument for that. So now we're moving on to Taylor Swift. And then it's somebody else's fault. And it's ridiculous. But the Chiefs are back, and it's great. It's good times.
It's good to have the help, All
right.
I'll take it.
I guess it's time for a little class.
Welcome to the classroom. Whether it's cooking lessons, singing lessons, or how to commit a heist, this guy wants to teach you what he knows. Well, what he thinks he knows. It's not Cody to you. It's Professor Tap.
All right, no clothing change today, other than I am wearing a shirt with buttons in it because I got to teach class later today as well.
Is this the same lesson you're teaching your students?
No. I teach 2 classes, as you know. One of them is just going to go see KSHB with Mackenzie Nelson later. We're going to go take the class to go see what television looks like. I showed them radio the other day, and, it turns out there's not a huge line of people looking to get into radio just yet. So instead, we'll show them a television station as well. No, instead, it was part of a conversation we had today, and it was part of the way that my kids are starting to speak at home. So for today's lesson, there's 2 things. I want us to both learn the words young people are saying so you understand their meaning, and
let's go.
As part of class, I think it's important that you learn to use them in a sentence.
Okay.
So as part of the lesson today, I will show you a word. I'll ask you if you already know the meaning of it. If you do, I would like you to use it in a sentence.
Okay.
If you do not know the word, I will teach you the word so then you may use it in a sentence.
All right, I like this.
We'll start easy. I didn't want to get us too complicated. Let's suggest the first word is Riz. Drew,
Yeah.
I do have some paper so you can see it spelled out. That might help.
Yeah.
you.
Beautiful.
Riz.
I love
What
it.
do you believe Riz to mean?
Yeah, so like Jackson Dart seems like he's got a lot of Riz.
Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of Riz. That's a good use of a sentence. Drew, can you use it in a sentence before we give the definition to the audience who might not know who it is? Riz?
I've got Riz.
Okay. You're just going to say, I've got Riz?
My Riz game is strong.
My Riz.
Effortless flirt, energy, or charisma.
Yeah.
Riz
swag.
obviously means
Yeah.
short
It's
for
like swag,
charisma.
yeah.
You think you have effortless, or do you actually mean that about yourself, or do you using it in a sentence? I'm asking either way. Do you believe you have Riz?
It's mainly both.
He does. He thinks he does.
I do not have Riz.
Yeah.
Lack of. Whatever
Yeah, I don't think so
Whatever
either.
minus Riz. Negative Riz is what I
Yeah.
have. Is it Delulu? Are you familiar with this one?
Huh?
Uh-oh. Gold doesn't know this one. Drew, do you know this?
I don't know it, but I have. I guess.
What is Delulu?
I will use it in a sentence and then give you this.
Okay.
Drew, for thinking Cincinnati has a chance to make the
Oh,
playoffs,
delusional.
is Delulu.
Delusional.
Yes,
Delusional.
believe in your
That's what I
own
was gonna-
fantasy
So you're
too much.
really
what I was gonna say.
Delulu.
Can you
That's
imagine
correct.
if now my updated conversation when we discuss the ref conspiracies, I say, man, these Lions fans are Delulu. You guys would
Yes.
look at me crazy.
You have to. You have to start saying
But it's important that if somebody says it near you, you understand.
Well,
what
the rest fans across the
Delulu
NFL are
means.
very Delulu when it
Yes.
comes to this ref stuff.
Yeah.
I'm going to start using that.
I use this
Yeah.
one specifically, Gold. It might matter to you in the dating game. Are you guys familiar with girl dinner?
No.
Drew? Are you
Girls
familiar?
going
No.
to women and going out to have dinner without any male present.
That's not correct. Girl dinner is actually a meal that is more snack based that does not include other things. Example could be butter noodles with no protein, charcuterie with just pickles on the side. Girl dinner is a meal that is not a regular meal, but instead a snack based or just little treat based dinner.
Okay.
Not a bit. I'm just saying if
Girl dinner?
Let's
Yes.
go.
There's
When
also
have- when
girl
have you-
math. Are
when
you
have-
familiar with girl
yeah,
math?
but when have you used this?
What have I used this?
Yeah.
I've heard people use this phrase.
Let's go.
I've never
This
heard anybody
is
say
about-
girl dinner.
My daughter doesn't use this one yet, but my son the other day said I'm cooked.
Excellent.
They often say
Girl dinner is wine and cigarettes, someone said.
Yeah, could be lots of different stuff, but not a traditional dinner. Oftentimes, no protein.
Butter noodles.
It could
In
be.
college, I had a lot of the butter noodles or whatever, though,
you?
man.
You had a lot of girl dinners then. is
Yeah,
what you're
college
saying.
had to.
okay,
Yeah.
Two more. Bussin'.
Oh yeah.
Bussin'. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah.
This place is bussin'. Oh,
Yeah,
100%.
that's been around for a lot longer, though. I don't think that's
This
new.
club is
Okay.
bussin'.
I don't think that is new.
It can mean a lot of different things. One thing can be ridiculously tasty, as in these tacos are bussin'. It can
Yeah.
go a lot of different ways. It's got some angles. Seemed like everyone in the
busy,
class
it's
knew that
amped up.
one.
Yeah.
We're good on that one?
Yeah.
Last one for the class. Are you familiar?
Wait, what is this?
Yes, I am familiar with it. I'm dead serious. I'm familiar with
Go.
it.
I just want you to.
GYAT.
Yeah. I want. Yeah.
GYAT. Yeah.
I want you to guess what you think it is before I tell you what the answer is.
I have no clue.
Okay. The dictionary definition. Drew, would you like to use it in
Wait,
the
hold
sentence
on.
first?
There's an actual
Well, not a
dictionary
Like,
definition.
not dictionary. I don't think it's in the dictionary.
Oh, okay.
That would be an exclamation for an impressive backside.
Yes.
Oh.
If you were complimenting someone's rear, perhaps, that would be a phrase you
But
would
how do you
use.
say the word?
Drew, do it one more time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah?
No, even
Hold
so
on,
even
fun.
so
Hold
even
on,
You say it expressively.
if you see somebody fine, you could be like, "Yeah, dang," something like that. Of course, I mean you wouldn't say, yeah. Yeah.
Someone using it in a sentence on the text line said, Mrs. Dart. Yes.
Settle down. Settle down. Yeah. Dang.
Almost like, yeah. Yeah,
But gat is like gat.
Yeah.
The Y's there for the
It sounds so uncomfortable.
phonetically. You have to say the Y. Gat.
Okay. All right.
Someone says I thought busing referred to public transportation. That's why I do this on this show.
I mean, it could, I suppose.
Huh.
You know,
Bussing with the boys.
well, I'm saying at some point in life, busing might have been an actual bus.
Yeah.
In this case, it does not.
Yeah,
my kids
man.
say the one that my daughter's been saying a lot is crashed out. I'm gonna crash out.
Crash out.
I'm gonna crash out. But that one's fairly self-explanatory.
Yeah.
It's just one that they say a lot. My son has been saying cooked. He's like, oh man, I was trying to play that Mario Party. I'm
Someone said
cooked.
Drew should have taught this lesson. I actually think you should have a substitute. Drew was more equipped to teach this.
So I even learned. I forget.
He's younger than us, He's heard some of
That's
these
what I'm
phrases.
saying. It sounds like Drew's used a few of these more often than we. This is what I'm telling you. It goes back to the video when he was shirtless jogging. Drew, your personality in that video was so different. The way you talked and everything. Bring that to the table on the show. He was a completely different person in that video.
I'll tell you what.
Completely different.
Hey, there might have been somebody. I don't know who it was. I think I'm disappointed that my wife didn't say it when I showed her the picture where she was like, God dang, man.
Someone says, Drew, in your shirtless lil dude pics prove you have no riz.
Wow. Look, as a married man, he doesn't need Riz. Who's he trying to have charisma with?
That was the whole point of why are you doing shirtless videos?
I don't need it, but I still have it.
I never had Riz.
Yeah,
as a matter
never.
of fact.
Never.
I don't need it.
Zero point in
No
my
Riz,
life
yeah.
would I describe myself as having Riz.
Dead serious. So I talked to my sister the other day. She's in grad school, and she is in exercise science. She's interning at a high school. She said, I'm picking up on all this lingo now.
6, 7, I didn't even teach us.
So my sister teaches second grade, and she says even on the projector, if there's even if it just has a number 67, she's like, oh no, here we go, because she knows the kids are gonna mention 6.
Someone said it. So I don't
Very
really
popular.
know. I don't know the exact deal with behind 6'7". I know that people just kind of just say it.
It started
with LaMelo, right?
It started with LaMelo,
where he just said,
who is 6'7" tall.
Yeah.
It was then popularized, and the only reason I know this is because I was looking up the other day because my kids have been saying it a bunch of time.
Someone said it's like the 1738 thing with Fetty Wap.
Overtime
Well, that was in
league
Kansas City,
and some of this other meme use. And so there was a boy who became known as the 6'7" kid on TikTok, and then it just kept getting used more and more.
It definitely is like the 17.
Someone says this makes way more sense. Drew must have had a lot of Riz back in his high school days, and that's why he picked the high school decade.
I got Riz, man.
And then I think Skrilla used it
Plain
in a
and
rap
simple.
too, Drew, if I remember right. If you're curious
Oh,
more about
did he?
6'7", yeah. My kids can't get through it. If there is, I help my daughter with
That's a
math
nice
every
unit.
day. If I say
What?
6 or 7, they immediately repeat the other. Crash out's the one
This
I
was
can't
your
take.
best lesson you've had. I
love it.
learned
We're
quite
getting
a bit. What was the yet?
Get.
Get.
Dang.
I'm never
Now
gonna
you
say
and
that.
Dusty will know how to talk amongst each other when you're-
I'm never gonna say that in my life.
This is it?
Yeah.
This is the one moment?
The fact that Drew said it so comfortably means you use this on a weekly basis, don't you?
I wouldn't say on a weekly basis. There are
But not
moments
never.
where, so for me,
But not never.
yeah, not never.
Not
I
never.
agree though. Somebody from the text line said 1738 is actually cool though. I agree. It's better than the 6'7" thing. 100%. 1738 was.
So what about those
It's way
aura
better.
points? That's the thing. Aura
I'm
points.
surprised you didn't say aura, but I
I
think
did not
we
do
already know what
aura.
aura
I just
is,
felt
so
like
it's-
you'd
it's there.
understand.
You know.
Crash out, aura. I don't need to break down bruh. There's lots of other ones that get used.
Is your son still calling you bro? Or
No,
bro?
he doesn't.
Okay.
But again, he's been saying I'm cooked, or he knows 6'7". He says some of the other stuff.
Has he ever said you're cooked? Like talking to you?
No, I'm really
like
curious.
If you ever got in trouble or something.
He is the most competitive kid on the planet. So really, what I'm stuck between is, do I start competing in a way that he just loses everything against me? I think that's going to go poorly. Or do I find a balance? Because he thinks he's better than me at everything. And at one point, we're going to learn a hard lesson there.
Someone says, I remember the word cool.
Hey, Cody, there will be one. There's one time when I think you should absolutely destroy him in a game and be like, bro, you're cooked. And it would just be hilarious for you in that moment. He would not like it, but I think it would be a fun little.
You got to throw it back at him sometimes.
Yeah.
That's what I should do with my nephews. See how annoyed they get.
Have you ever said you're cooked to them? I think that.
Have I ever said you're cooked to my nephews? No.
Yes. I think you.
No.
I think you would
I
get some
should,
brownie
though.
points. As an uncle.
You got to say 6'7" the right way. You know that, right? You can't just. It's not just. You don't just say it that way.
You don't just say 6'7".
I have a guess on how you say it, but can you provide the example?
6'7". All the time, man. Every second. Slay also very popular.
Oh,
my daughter says that.
Slay is
But that's been a thing
Slay
for a
was
while.
I
though,
think
feel
for
like.
us though.
I know it's just weird for me to watch my 9-year-old walk in and be like, "Ooh, Slay Queen." You're like, I can't.
Yeah, Slay
Yes,
Queen.
Queen.
Yeah.
Yes, Queen.
Drew's been doing that on the show for a while. That voice,
so good.
that's Drew's favorite.
It's a
That's
lot
Drew's
for me.
favorite.
Yeah.
thing.
That's my lesson for today.
Thank you, Cody, Professor.
Professor will be back
Tab,
next
I
week.
should
Do
say.
that there. There's so many of these. Oh yeah.
Straight bussin' this Riz is cooked is now what the text line's
Let's
texting
go
in.
from the 816. Let's go.
Up next, we'll get to what's trending. If you're still listening to the show after that segment, we appreciate it for sticking with. That's loyalty. Okay, that's loyalty.
We appreciate that.
And we will get back into the expectations for Xavier Worthy, not just Rashee Rice, but Xavier Worthy next.
What's up, Kansas City? This is Vinny Pasquantino, and you're listening to Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
With only 4 teams left in the playoff picture, who do you have pulling through to play for it all? Catch every pitch of the championship series at Twin Peaks, where the bases are loaded and 29-degree drafts are up to bat. Twin Peaks, eats, drinks, scenic views.
Every big play starts with a first down, and every financial future starts with the right partner. Main Street Credit Union is not-for-profit and member-owned, which means we invest in you with guidance that's clear, tools that make sense, and people who actually listen. We're here to help you move the chains. Whatever your next move is, auto loan, savings goal, or paying off debt, let's make it one play at a time. Visit mainstreetcu.org to get started.
Last year, we bought over 54,000 cars from your friends and neighbors. Why did they sell us their cars? Because we pay more at GiveMeTheVin.com. And why do we pay more? Because you and I both know that your car is worth more than others will offer you. And your time is worth more too. I'm John Clay Wolf, and I created GiveMeTheVin.com. Sell me your car faster and hassle-free because you're worth more.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
Every NFL Thursday is your chance to hit the jackpot on FanDuel. Because with FanDuel's Thursday touchdown jackpot, you can win a share of $2 million in bonus bets each week. To get in on this Thursday's action, all you have to do is place an anytime touchdown score bet before the game kicks off. And if your player scores the first or last touchdown of the game, you'll win your bet plus a share of bonus bets. Just visit FanDuel.com/Alex to take a shot at the jackpot. That's FanDuel.com/Alex for your chance to win a share of $2 million in bonus bets. Play your game with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. Opt in. Must apply profit boost token on select market. Prize pool to be split equally among all eligible participants who made the correct first or last touchdown pick. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets will expire 21 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit kansasgamblinghelp.com.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. All so that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Bud Light and Tanners are teaming up to make every college game day legendary. Every Saturday, rep your college team, catch every play, and enjoy $15 buckets. Only at Kansas area Tanners locations. Bud Light and Tanners. From the stands to the bar, your game day headquarters.
When your name's on the paint job, your primer better hold up. Painters trust Kills primers for serious adhesion, stain blocking, and a finish that lasts. Now, the full lineup is only at the one place pros rely on. Need it fast? Get same-day or next-day delivery. Or order online and pick it up in-store. Kills primers, exclusively at the Home Depot. If you're a pro, you know. Oh, no.
Ah,
That's the sound of someone who's misplaced
My debit card.
their debit card.
Where'd I leave that thing?
Not at the gas pump, or the checkout counter, or the roof of your car. Now, if he has the Chase mobile app, he can use Card Lock.
Wait, I could just lock my card.
Yep, just a few tippy taps on his phone, and that sound? That's peace of mind from Chase.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. member FDIC.
Well, good morning, kiddo. I love that you're home from college. I've missed you.
Still taking your Nature Made vitamins?
Every day. A multivitamin and a probiotic. You better be taking yours.
Still looking out for me, Mom.
I'll never stop.
Made to care for you every day. Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Find us in the vitamin aisle, based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
Your favorite neighborhood spots run unsquare. You know the ones. Maybe it's the popular shop that just opened a new location by you, or the big sports bar that's always packed on game day. These places make the neighborhood, and the money spent there stays in your community. Square powers more than 4 million neighborhood businesses worldwide. To learn more, go to square.com. Or just stop by your favorite local business. See you in the neighborhood. Square.
Think Verizon, the best 5G network, is expensive? Think again. Bring in your AT&T or T-Mobile bill to a Verizon store today and we'll give you a better deal. Now, what to do with your unwanted bills? Maybe turn them into paper airplanes headed to See Ya Never AT&T and T-Mobile. Jokes aside, the best 5G network has you covered with the most ways to save on plans, streaming, and phone deals. So bring in your bill to your local Verizon store today and we'll give you a better deal. Rankings based on root metrics who score report data to 1H 2025. Your results may vary. Must provide a postpaid consumer mobile bill dated within the past 45 days. Bill must be in the same name as the person receiving the deal. Additional terms apply.
The technicians you can trust with your house keys. Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric.
Stay comfortable year-round with fast, reliable service 24/7, even weekends and holidays. Already invested in repairs? Save up to $4,500 on a new HVAC system. Schedule today at AnthonyPHCE.com.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this. What's trending?
What's Trending brought to you by Telly Tire and Auto Centers. Winning starts with a great drive since 1942. Telly certified techs have delivered complete car care with top brand tires and expert auto service. Keep your drive going. Take it to Telly. Visit tellytire.com today.
Number 1 on What's Trending, Brashard Smith back at practice for the Chiefs after having an illness yesterday. Of course, Josh Simmons still not with the team due to a personal reason. Tomorrow, we're going to hear from Andy Reid again at 1 o'clock. We'll be interested to hear.
Imagine he'll be asked about Simmons again, or he'll declare him out for Sunday officially.
Yeah, I mean,
Good practice today. He's going to be out
pretty
Sunday.
clear he's not playing Sunday at minimum. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that that's a lock at this point, but we'll see what Andy has to say about it tomorrow. Next up on What's Trending, Blue Jays won 13-4 last night over the Mariners. They've got Game 4 tonight, 7:33. They currently trail 2-1 to the Mariners. Brewers-Dodgers at 5:08 tonight. Dodgers up 2-0 in that series.
Thursday night football tonight. Steelers-Bengals. Steelers 5.5-point favorites in Cincy. Updated news on Trey Hendrickson. He is now expected to be out for tonight's game.
Lastly on What's Trending, the Big 12. Oh, what? Go ahead. Oh. Lastly on What's Trending, KU was picked 6th in the Big 12 Hoops preseason
no
poll.
cap, huh?
Kansas State picked 9th.
It's going to make Cody uncomfortable now and randomly throw in words.
No, I like it. And we'll figure out, maybe we'll talk more about the preseason poll tomorrow, because I'm kind of curious where Kansas basketball program currently is versus what has been. Obviously, Bill Self citing his health stuff in talking about it, saying that it's re-energized him as a head coach this year. So we'll see.
The coaches think that K-State's cooked. They're 9th. In the poll.
They might be.
Every time they really think K-State's done, that's when they actually perform their best.
Yeah.
Typically, when they're picked a little lower in the preseason. Obviously, Houston picked number 1 in the preseason poll.
That's What's Trending here on Cody and Gold. Earlier today, Danon Hughes, who I think does have a lot of riz, Drew, he joined us for sure. Danon Hughes, former Chiefs wide receiver. And we asked him about Xavier Worthy in particular, what his role could be with Rashee Rice coming back.
Well, it's good to be with you guys again as well. Each week has been fun, and especially after wins like last week. But in regards to Rashee, I feel like, we're going to see a lot of him. I feel like Patrick has done a great job. One cool thing about Patrick Mahomes is that he doesn't seem to fit into the box of, hey, I got this new guy, I'm going to, take it lightly with this new guy, or I got this guy being inserted back into the lineup. We're going to kind of take baby steps. No, he kind of allows guys to get thrown into the fire, and if he has the confidence in you, we saw it with Tyquan Thornton. We've seen it with guys over the course of his tenure at quarterback, where like you look at the stat sheet and you're like, wow, I didn't know that was a new guy in the lineup. I didn't know that DeAndre Hopkins this was his first week or second week last year. Like, I feel like that's the kind of quarterback he is. So to answer your question, I feel like the entire playbook, the entire part of the arsenal is going to be open for Rashee Rice. And he recognizes, and Patrick, I'm saying, recognizes that Rashee has a lot to prove and a lot that he wants to prove. And I think Patrick is that type of teammate that's going to give him every opportunity to go and showcase who he was basically in line to be as far as a top-notch receiver, one of the top 5 or 10 receivers in the NFL last year before he got hurt. So that's kind of the game within the game. The mindset from a player standpoint is that, hey, I got this guy right next to me. This is his first game. He is my number one target. So we're going to showcase to the world that he doesn't need a few weeks to kind of get ingrained into the offense. He's ready to go, and we're going to come out guns blazing.
He's in a really interesting career spot, Dane, in the sense that he lost an entire year to injury and a third of the season for personal issues. So for a guy that eventually will want to prove that he's worth big-time wide receiver money, he's got a really limited window to do it. And so, like, I think that's kind of like, at least for the Chiefs, I always think that's kind of like an interesting dynamic for something like that, in the sense that his career arc from that perspective is a lot different than other people.
Yeah, but I think in this day and age, although numbers jump off the page, we have seen, not just in this day and age, but in the course of history in the NFL, where bad teams have wide receivers that put up big numbers, and the reason why is because they're always losing. And, I remember the Detroit Lions teams and Johnny Mortons and those guys. You look at their numbers after the season, and you're like, wow, how in the world did they catch for over 1,000 yards? And then you realize when they come to your team that they're just a regular receiver, not bad, but not as great as what their numbers probably showed. So I feel like with the scouting that goes on in the NFL, if Rashee Rice comes back and shows that he's healthy, shows that he's explosive, I contest that he is now, without Tyreek Hill on the field, he is probably the most explosive receiver soon as he catches the ball. Like, when he was healthy, when he caught the ball, he got north and south real quick. And he was one of the few receivers that didn't dance, didn't try to sidestep. He caught the ball and he was going towards the goal line, whether it was for 2 yards after catch or 20 yards after catch. And that's his biggest attribute to me, is how strong he is, but how quick he's able to transition with the football. And if he's going to become a free agent, like, I don't think that he has to put up 1,000-yard plus seasons with 10-plus touchdowns in order for him to maximize his worth. I think scouting is going to be able to see that he is healthy, he's still explosive, and within this offense that has Travis Kelce, Xavier Worthy, and Hollywood Brown, I think there's going to be some grace delivered from other teams in recognizing that he's still one of the great receivers.
Since Worthy's return in week 4, he's got 198 yards from scrimmage on 17 touches, so a little over 11.5 yards per touch. What do you think Rice's return does for him? I think earlier in the week I caught you talking to Fesco and Dusty a little bit about, the versatility of the room, but also with some of the ankle injury and stuff for Worthy. Do you think they will pull back at all, or will Worthy just continue to be a huge factor?
I think he'll continue to be a huge factor, but, the one thing that about Andy Reid and Matt Nagy is, and I've said it on and on for years, it seems like, they have the innate ability to put players in positions to be successful and to win football games. Like, they just do. It didn't matter when we had the record number drops a few years ago. It didn't matter. Guys were in position to make plays and to be depended on, and then lo and behold, those same guys that had participated in all the drops were the ones that got us the Super Bowl. Like, so I don't know if it's going to be touches per week that we're going to see, 8 targets, 2 touches, 2 additional touches for Xavier. Like, part of the offense that we've leaned on from Xavier Worthy was actually a package that Rashee Rice was utilized. He was utilized in the jet sweeps. He was utilized in the reverses in the past. So splitting that up, like, I don't envy Andy Reid and Matt Nagy and how you figure out how you can split things up where everybody is happy and there's no explosions on the field. But I feel like if there has ever been an offensive mind in the NFL that will know how to do it, it's Andy Reid. So, like, what that will look like, especially for the fantasy owners and out there and obviously the Chiefs fans, like, that might be 8 to 10 targets for each of those guys, maybe 6 targets for Travis. Touches, you may see some razzle-dazzle that is associated between both of those guys, Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice, on the same play. Like, who knows what they were drawing up before the hammer was brought down in regards to the suspension. Who knows what they had been drawing up the entire offseason after losing the Super Bowl, knowing that you had Rashee Rice coming back healthy. Like, that's what's going to be special to me. And what better week than to have that on display against the hated Raiders? Like, that's
right.
going to be the fun part of the game within the game that I'm looking forward to.
Well, and I guess, like, let's take a look at some of the other parts of the roster and the way this works. We've been talking a lot about Simmons and whatever he's going through at the moment that is keeping him away from the facility. Have you ever been a part of a team that had a player away from the team for non-injury related stuff, in the sense that, I guess I was trying to look for somebody who might have insight on how internally a team might handle something like that, Dana, knowing that he's not available, but that, like, it's not for the reasons like guys aren't normally available, in the sense that, when guys are available for not an injury, everybody knows how to handle that.
Yeah, I've never been a part of any program or organization where that has happened, where no one is speaking, no one knows. I'm sure there are some people, obviously, in the organization, as well as players, that know all the nuts and bolts to it, but I've never been a part of something where a person just basically went on hiatus and it's not being discussed, especially a starter at a position that was basically highlighted throughout the entire offseason, and he's played well. So, we just got to lift up your prayers to him and whatever he's dealing with personally, whether it's with his family or he himself. It is a weird dynamic, but, like, you got to give grace. These guys are humans, and I think that's the message that has to be resonating with fans within the Chiefs Kingdom and around the NFL, is that, yeah, they entertain us on Sundays, Mondays, occasional Thursdays, but they're humans, and they go through stuff, and you have baggage. If you ever sit down and really talk to players and you hear about all the things that they're dealing with, I know the general fan, and this is the part that I hate, general fan and even most media will talk about the money. And the money is supposed to be the cure of everything. Like, the money supersedes everything. Like, you sign up, because you sign $1 million contract, a multi-million-dollar contract, everything else is secondary, and we don't want to hear you whining about it. When in reality, more money, more problems, just like Notorious Big said, and there's times where things are elevated and it's outside of the money. So, not to go off on a tangent like that, but I think that's a message that a lot of fans and a lot of media need to hear, is that, like, cut it out with the money cures everything and we should be thankful and that's it. Well, there's people that go through health issues, mental issues, family issues that you can't write a check about, and you have to deal with it. And that's not just non-football players or non-athletes.
We're talking to Danian Hughes here on 96.5 The Fan. You started talking about the Raiders a little bit. I felt like the intensity in your voice changed as you mentioned the Raiders coming to town.
Yeah, I hate the Raiders, and it's crazy because, and I said this with Fesco earlier this week. Like, I wouldn't say I liked the Raiders when I grew up. I was on the Raiders. I loved Marcus Allen. I loved, the nastiness and way they played and so on. But when I came to Kansas City, it was like, as soon as I landed in KCI, I was brainwashed. Like, there was something in walking through the airport back then that changed my entire mindset about the Raiders. And then when you couple that with the passion that Marty Schottenheimer used to bring when it was Raider Week, and it was literally on the board, on the dry erase board, on the chalkboard, soon as the game was over, whoever we played the previous week. We didn't even get a chance to rally together and celebrate the win or lament the loss. It was like on the boards, it's effing Raiders Week, get your minds right, and that's how it was. That's how the page was turned back then. So it's kind of been ingrained in me. Then you add some of the antics that we experienced with John Gruden during that era and stomping on the Arrowhead and the celebration of driving around the stadium, multiple laps and all that stuff. Like all of that just adds to the intensity of this rivalry. So, and they've given us some headaches. Like they have given us some headaches. They ruined Christmas. Max Crosby has been a problem and probably will continue to be one as well. And we're going to have our hands full because as bad as their season is going, if they're able to come in here and win a game, it's almost like it's going to be the equivalent of 2 or 3 wins for them.
Yeah, I can't stand the Raiders. Cody and I always talk about this. I grew up in Kansas City, and I was like raised that the Raiders are trash and their fans suck and all this kind of stuff. And I can't stand the Raiders. Do you think that you mentioned what Marty used to do though? And I know the Chiefs focus in on the division during training camp. They spend multiple days on each divisional opponent and everything. Do you think though, like internally, just because while the Raiders recently, yes, have given the Chiefs a little bit of fits, but they haven't been, a consistent playoff team and things like that. Do you think the players and the organization as it's currently constructed, though, still has like that same vibe this week, though, as fans do about the Raiders?
Absolutely. Now, it may not be as intense because we're winning Super Bowls and they're not even getting close. We're winning more postseason games in their building than they have. Like it doesn't even matter in regards to what you see on paper, but I think still deep down inside there's a deep-seated resentment for the Raiders, and like you want to pick somebody while they're down, and what better team would that be than the Raiders to be able to keep them down, keep them in their place, continue to ascend with our expectations and what the standard that we have set. And if there's a team, especially in our division, that's going to be reeling, like it's great that it's the Raiders, so we might as well keep them down there.
Take advantage of it, Do you think Andy's going to have, like you'd mentioned early in the wide receiver stuff, I still think this has a chance to be a top 3 offense, maybe the best offense in football. Is that the way you feel about him?
Absolutely. I think if we're healthy and you got a 1-2 punch, I know there's been talk about getting a running back in through the trade before the trade deadline and all that. I don't think that's necessary. I am one of those guys outside of injury. I don't like getting offensive weapons mid-season. We needed it last year with DeAndre Hopkins, and he did a great job. And hats off to him, being the great vet that he was, and putting forth the effort and putting us in a position to get to another Super Bowl. But normally, especially with the intricacies and the complexities of this offense, I just don't see that being a benefit with the Chiefs. And so I'm of the school of thought that outside of injury, like we're good. Our arsenal is as good or better than everyone else in the league. Brashard Smith is coming along, kind of in that Jerick McKinnon role. And then you have the 1-2 punch that when we're not behind and we're not chasing points, we have shown that we can have a legit run game. And I think people got down on that because you saw Patrick Mahomes being the leading rusher. But he's the leading rusher because we're throwing the ball 40-plus times because we're behind and we have to try to catch up. We're always going to be a pass-first offense, and that's going to be that's just the case.
They also made a huge adjustment in that, Dane, and they started going under center to run. I don't think that I want that to get lost in there, and that they found a more successful way to run with Isaiah Pacheco.
I love it. I love when Patrick Mahomes is under center. I think that opens up a nuance to our offense, not just with the run game, but with play action. There's only but so much you can do with the running back sitting next to you in shotgun. There's only but so much you can affect defensively. that will draw the linebackers to the line of scrimmage, that will open up backside runs. For Pacheco to be standing 6 yards, 7 yards back, or Kareem Hunt to be 6, 7 yards back, and the snap running downhill lead draws where he can plant his foot, find the first gap, and burst through it, as opposed to going from a standstill stance right next to the quarterback, getting the football 4 yards back, and then trying to figure out how to get downhill. I think that's just it's an aspect of the offense that you want to have. I just don't think that it's a great way to have a run game be a factor. And as long as we're able to get touchdowns on the board, get ahead of teams, force other teams to be one-dimensional, and then be able to utilize the clock tower advantage by running the ball, and you're able to get into that deep kind of hybrid I formation, like every running back would love that. And I think we've flourished in utilizing that formation this past week.
You're about to set the text line on fire. You said 6-7 back-to-back, which was the text line now is going to go nuts. So thank you for that, Dayton. What do you got on players only tonight?
I think I'm going to be solo, but we're going to take on the text line, so hopefully everybody will chime in. We got our faithful callers and texters, so we'll tackle those. It's Raider week, so I'm sure there'll be some hate that'll be thrown that way, and we'll talk all about it. So we're going to have a good time.
That's Dayton Hughes earlier today with us here on Cody and Gold. He joins us